and welcome to a new episode of the Game Informer Show. I'm Ben Hansen, joined by Ben Reeves.
Hello.
And Andy McNamara once
Hello.
again. Welcome, sir. How you doing?
Thank you. Doing all right.
Okay.
I'm doing all right.
Okay. Tricky spot, but glad you're
Yeah.
here.
I'm on the show.
Great. I love it. We're talking about games. We're going to focus on a lot of stuff here. First of all, telling lies. Quick plug, that was Elise Favis's review. She's not here. Her review is on the site. If you don't remember the name of this game, the creator Sam Barlow, he was on the podcast during E3. He created Her Story. This is kind of the official spiritual successor to Her Story. So kind of piecing together clues from live action videos. It's on Steam right now. I haven't played it yet, but I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I really liked Her Story.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was in the camp of, after playing Her Story, it's like, I could go for one of those experiences a year. Mm-hmm. And now it's been, what, like 4 or 5 years? So I'm glad to have another one that I can dive into.
I don't even know if I would put it that way. Her Story, I mean, I've been purposely avoiding things on
Telling
the
lies?
new game.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a game where everyone's like, this is really cool, you should check it out. And I turned it on or downloaded it, I think, on my iPad. And I didn't move for like 8 hours or 6 hours or whatever. However, I mean, it wasn't the longest experience, but
Yeah.
I was pretty taken.
Oh, yeah. That's fun.
You know what I mean? So like, I'll take experiences that trap me any day of the week. Do you know what I mean? So like,
Trap
if
us,
he's done
please.
it again, I love it when I just fall into the hole.
Yeah, at least give it a 9. I mean, it looks good
Yeah,
so far.
it looks really good.
Let's see. And then we're going to talk about Control, former Game Informer cover story from Remedy. Reeves, you reviewed that. Reiner's going to come back and give the final verdict on Astral Chain. We talked about it a fair amount last episode. That's the Nintendo Platinum joint. Then Man of Medan, Reiner also blasted through this weekend. Very impressive. And then Miller has been attempting to play this Ancestors game. Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey. He's reviewed that one. That's from Patrice Desolé, the creator of Assassin's Creed and Private Division, is publishing this thing. It's the one where you play an ape, and it seems...
The one where you play the ape.
That one game.
Tale of the Sun, I believe. Yeah, it's a bizarre thing, and I've heard like snippets of Miller's thoughts on it, but I'm excited to get him down here and have him try and unpack this ambitious, bizarre, I don't know, lumpy experience of a game, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, I've seen that it's been resonating with some and not with others. I think it's one of those things that it's polarizing in its
ambition.
I don't know. I think ambition, or even like I think they tried to leave a lot of things to the player as well, which some people don't like.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? When things are left to you as the player, and some people like that, right? I mean, you got to remember that there's different types of gamers, and I think that this game, if nothing else, has certainly said we're going to do our own thing.
Oh, yes.
And if it's not your style, you should move along.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. But hey, Control. So Ben Reeves, you reviewed it. What score did you give this thing?
I gave it an 8.75.
Fantastic. And Andy, you've been playing it, but you haven't finished it yet. Is that right?
Yeah. If we spoil anything on this show, there's going to be problems.
Okay. Great.
But yes, I've been playing it pretty. I mean, I slowed down the last week, but I've been playing it whenever I have free time.
Okay. Reeves, what do you think of this thing?
Yeah, I like it. Given the score, obviously. I've always thought Remedy's games feel really good, like when you're playing the game. I thought Quantum Break was kind of sadly overlooked because it had this albatross. Is that how you say that?
Tross.
Albatross? No, I call it a tross because it was so atrocious. The little like TV show stuff they had.
Right.
I think people looked over that game because of that, even though I thought the gameplay wise, it felt good.
Yeah.
And this one, fortunately, doesn't have any of that TV show
Not
stuff.
even one TV show packed into this
Well,
sucker.
There are. I mean, there's videos that are in it that are well done, actually.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it's not like Quantum Break.
Yes.
But there's like, Remedy really likes live action video, I think, and they incorporate that in a smart way.
I felt it's like a Lost kind of way, I think is the best way to describe it. Like in
interesting.
Lost, when they were like dealing with whatever the corporation was in the Lost, and they'd find like old VHS tapes and like put them in and be like, what's going on this island?
Yeah.
That was the Dharma Initiative.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
So like, I feel like there's a bit of this with the oldest house.
Yeah, was it this morning where you said that this is a Remedy as hell Remedy game? It seems like that seems to be the consensus for this game. The takeaway is, boy, if you like Remedy, this is a game for you.
I would add, and Ben knows more than I, but I would actually argue a bit. I think in the past, their games, their control has been fine. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? I've never really felt like even the gunplay in Quantum Break, which I finished and I enjoyed more than some did. I never was like, this is really fun. You know what I mean? I felt like I kind of got through it. Mm-hmm. And in this case, Control to me is fun. Like I think they really nailed the telekinesis stuff, and it feels, maybe my memory's wrong and maybe Ben's right, but I mean, like, my memory is not that I really enjoyed that, and my memory of my experience from this so far is that, like, it feels good to play Control.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And for me, like, the gunplay in a weird way is kind of secondary. Like, it's there and it's good, but like the reason I like the game is because the telekinesis, they really like nailed that feeling of being able to pick things up with your mind, and just the animation's good. Like, you hit the button, things fly at you and they kind of hover there for a second, and then you can flame across the room.
And it's
like,
not finicky for like which object you're picking up versus other objects.
There is one moment with that. I mean, you can pick the objects, I think, very easily. The thing is that some of them are explosive.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I don't know if you had this problem, but I have this problem where, like, every once in a while because you can, it's funny, even if you can't pick an object, you'll rip concrete off the floor.
Oh, weird.
Or like off the corner of the wall.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, because sometimes I'm like, I don't have anything around. And I'm just like, this'll do. I mean, because I'm a badass, right? Which is, I think, feels really good, like really empowering. So you can just like rip concrete off the ground and throw it. But sometimes there'll be, because it's a lab at points, you know what I mean? There's things that are flammable, and I'll lose a fight because I'm like in a big battle and I'm like, object, grab one and throw it, and just, you know, for some strange reason something walks in front of me, or I clip the thing in front of me and it blows up in my face and takes a lot of my health or kills me outright. So that's the only hiccup. But I mean, otherwise, to his point, it does a great job. You pick it up, which you can on PC, it's like the center mouse button, so it feels really good, I think. And then basically it gives you a reticule when you have like a clear line.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
You're
clear to throw it and it'll hit them.
And the gunplay's okay, because the weird thing with this game is that you have one gun and it like keeps transforming throughout to become different types of guns.
Yeah, you level it up throughout the game. So you start with like a handgun, and then you can level it up. You get like their version of a shotgun, their version of like a sniper rifle, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
And then you get mods, like enemies will drop mods, or you do these from like completing side missions. You get a modification that you can stick on a gun that gives it more power or makes it reload faster or whatever. The weird thing about the weapon for me is I think it feels good. There's no like reload. It just automatically reloads after you stop firing for a second. It's because you have infinite ammo. So you're just
that sounds great.
Well, the infinite ammo is really nice. I just occasionally I wish I could just manually reload. Where it's like you just pause firing and then it'll slowly refill.
I pushed the R button to reload numerous times, thinking I need to reload, but I do think
it's hard to fight that instinct.
It is hard to fight that instinct, but I did come to grips, at least in like, I don't know, maybe 10 hours in or something like that. Come to grips in that, like, I think it's there. And by the way, I'm making it. This is a Monday morning quarterback kind of game design commentary right now, but I feel like they left it that way so that you had to fill the void with the telekinesis.
Yeah.
It was like their way of making you use it. That if you would have had regular ammo and like packets, you would have just fired because that's our instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like because there's more enemies than you can shoot with the gun and the forced reload time, that you use it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's forced me to be like in that kind of Star Wars Jedi outcast kind of sense, like use those powers.
And I think because of that, the action has a cool rhythm to combat, because you're like throwing things at people and then you run out of your, telekinesis magic for a minute and that has to recharge. So then you start shooting and then you run out of that and you can bounce over and use your telekinesis again.
Are there going to be those think pieces when Jedi Fallen Order comes out of like, I think Control was a better Star Wars game the whole time?
Yeah, somebody's going to write
Someone's going to write that?
I mean,
okay,
you
get
do
a head
feel
start.
like a cool Jedi. You really do.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
There's a couple other powers you have where you can like just grab debris that's laying around the ground and like throw it up like a shield.
Ooh, that's
or
sweet.
You can like they call it seize. You can grab an enemy and mind control them basically. And so then they become your ally and start shooting other people.
And without spoilers, for Andy's sake and the community's sake, story is intriguing and it pays off. Intriguing throughout. How would you characterize this thing?
Yeah, it's very weird. And I was trying to figure out like what it feels like, what other things it feels like. And I couldn't really like nail it. There is a sense of Inception, which is a weird comparison. It's not like a one-to-one, but that like feeling of sort of that dreamlike feel where like the world around you isn't quite normal and everything's moving.
Because the oldest house itself is constantly shifting around.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And so I think, I don't know if it's like a weird Finnish thing or a weird like translation thing, but I always felt like I like Remedy's worlds and I like what they do and I like some of the storytelling, but occasionally there's like something a little off a lot of times.
Like just emotionally hollow or something, or just...
or sometimes the dialogue, the writing, some about it is always a little bit off, and I think that actually works here because it's just the strange fiction they're going for.
Yeah.
The one I put it for was I feel like it feels like Resident Evil games in that regard. That like you're just like, what? That was the sentence they just gave? You know, like that was the explanation they just gave me for that? Like I had that many times in the Resident Evil world, and I had that many times here.
Okay.
Because there's definitely moments when they just like, they're like, there's this new character and this is this character, and you're just like, what is going on and why?
Uh-huh.
And I think it's really interesting. I mean, there's long dialogues, and even the main character too does. You get thoughts from they do like
inner monologue type
the
thing.
inner monologue where they focus in on the eyes, and like you hear what she thinks about the situation and why she's telling things or not telling things. So it does have that kind of, at least to me, like very serious but kind of corny, like Resident Evil. Like it does that perfect, like you take it very seriously but not too seriously.
Right.
Does
But
that
with
make
Remedy,
sense?
it's like, it's quirky.
Yeah, it's quirky.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been enjoying it a lot so far. And Inception's a good way to put it too, because there are a lot of puzzles and things that you come across that I think follow in that kind of sense.
Yeah. So I think maybe on the cover story, even before that, when they're talking about this game, Remedy has made a couple Metroid comparisons. Andy is a huge Metroid fan. Do you feel like that's paying off? Does the oldest house feel like a location that has a Metroidvania aspect to it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you said it earlier was like, the world is always changing there. I guess I don't feel like it's a world that's always changing. I think it does do a good job, as far as I can tell so far, in that it does have those Metroidvania kind of things, in that you go through a labyrinth of the world, and you get to the end, and you solve a puzzle, fight a boss, whatever. It is a game.
Mm-hmm.
But then there'd be like, I can go down this hall and fall, and I'm right back to the beginning. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a great elevator that gets to all this stuff. Right? That one of the checkpoints you kind of go through is that you cleanse an area, which has a cool kind of like it's overgrown with the I don't know if I'm spoiling, but it's like there's kind of like the bad, right, that's in this place that you push back, and that you kind of reclaim these areas back, which I think has a cool effect. And also too, that's how you kind of make hubs that you move through, and then you can use that for like fast transportation. So it does have all those kind of Metroid things where you come across doors that have a key card level 5, Resident Evil as well, and you're like, I can't open that yet.
Right.
There's probably something in there I want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there is a Metroid element. I don't know if it's I don't know if I would encourage people to think Metroid when they're playing this game.
Yeah.
It's not like that's the strongest element of the game for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think Metroid, I think exploration, and like I continually come back to old areas to find the unlockables that were hidden there. Control doesn't have a ton of that, like stuff hidden in the environment. It has some, but like, I don't know. I had fun just like going through the world, and I would come back and go off a different branching path into another area, but I wasn't like coming back and exploring areas I'd been to before, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It also does, at least so far through the game, it does a pretty good job of pointing out the kind of, Metroid powers. Like, here's the next power. You should get it.
Yeah.
You're going to want
It's pretty
this.
clear. Okay.
You're not like shooting at a weird wall and finding something that was hidden or anything like that. But it does do a great job. There's these kind of like, they call them executive orders or something like that appear, like you'll be doing something in the game and it'll be like, we want you to kill 20 people in this area. It's just kind of a broadcast.
Yeah.
And you can go do it or not do it. They're kind of side quests, but they're interesting, and they usually have some pretty good gunplay, combat in them. So you can go back to areas that you would have considered clear, right? And they can still have gameplay elements in them,
Right.
which I thought was a clever way to handle it.
And there are side missions. In fact, I would encourage people to play those for several side missions, because you can get extra powers that you might not get if you just do the main story campaign.
Gotcha. Interesting. So I know you're looking forward to it, Reeves. Is the game basically everything you were hoping for? Anything that bummed you out more than expected?
I don't know what I was hoping for with this game. I mean, honestly, I don't know that I was trying to I was excited for it and I wanted to play it. The action was more than I think I expected, if that makes sense. Like the just throwing things around the environment.
Yeah.
You destroy every room you go into. Like it looks like a mess. It looks like my bedroom when you're done. You know, it just is amazing just how good it feels to like throw things around and smash stuff.
And maybe I've only seen PC clips, but it looks really good too. Were you playing on PC, Reeves?
I played on Xbox.
Okay, but still,
But it still looks really good. It's just like the I don't know if the character models look as amazing, but the visual effects look incredible. Like they have some really cool looking effects.
And the style, it's so well stylized. They really, as far as art direction on this game, I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
It there's things that are barren because they want them to be, and things that are kind of messy, but it feels real, even though it is video game fake. You know what I mean, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
It has a great. I was very impressed by the way that the world feels.
The oldest house has that sort of brutalist architecture feel, and I thought I'd maybe get tired of that by the end, but they actually do a pretty good job of like different environments actually have a different feel to them, and you go to enough like different locales that I like the visual style throughout the whole game.
Huh. And it all takes place in this house.
It all takes place in the house.
Well, it all takes place in like an insane house. I mean, this isn't
In no
just
way does
like
it look like, it's not like, all right, here's the bedroom over here. Here's the bedroom. It's like, it's
Yeah.
insane entire building.
Things move around.
Yeah, skyscraper.
It's like the doctor's TARDIS, right? Where it's like, it's bigger inside than it looks from the outside of the building.
Fine. I love it. Good on Remedy and good on 505 for publishing and funding, new IP this late in the generation. It's really exciting to see. And then I was just looking at the list for today's episode, and it's like, Telling Lies, Control, Astral Chain, Medan, Ancestors, like all new IP.
Yeah.
It's
Well, to your point, 505, I was like, this isn't a knock against 505. Well, it's probably a knock against 505. But I just like when it was announced, I was like, is this going to be like the weirdo budget Remedy game?
Right.
I was like, I don't want that. But like playing it, it's like, it feels like a full-on Remedy. I don't know what corners they've cut here. Like it feels like a real full game.
feels like a real game.
I mean, I haven't finished it, but thus far, I mean, I think it is by far the best Remedy game they have made.
Wow.
Even like Max Payne, those old school games.
I mean, it's been a long time since I played Max Payne, and I really enjoyed it. It's hard to compare those two because to some degree, I mean, games now are better than games then just because of the way they can do things.
For sure.
Do you know what I mean? So Max Payne at the time was really great at what it did, and Bullet Time was amazing and felt great and a lot of fun. But I don't know. I so far I've really enjoyed just the weird world of Control.
Yeah.
Is fascinating. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it. Is like you can like the game for just playing it, but part of it you're just like, I gotta see what's happening here because it's weird.
I know there's a lot of like Alan Wake fans like, do another Alan Wake, but I think more than like a lot of the other franchises, I think I'd rather see another Control.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what would you call it? I've been meaning to ask you.
Montrol.
Very good idea. Sweet. Anything else you want to say, Andy?
What
with the
was
game
your
or anything
clever
else?
like response to that?
I did nothing. I just
you had nothing.
Control? What?
look at
How about
Albatross.
Controller?
Hey, there we go.
Hey,
not
yeah,
bad.
yeah. What's up?
Anything else you want to say, Andy?
No. I mean, I think if you other than like the kind of rubber stamp of like if you like single player games,
Please support this one.
yeah. I mean, it's like that's where. If you like single player games, you got to support them, and I think this is a good one. It may not be for everyone, but I think if you like video games and their weirdness and you like playing single player games, you're gonna get what you asked for.
That's perfect. Andy, would you mind clapping out this week?
Yeah, no problem.
Love
Bye
you,
bye.
dude. Andrew Reiner,
Hello.
return to the show.
Yeah.
We're gonna open up all about Astral Chain. Last week you were all coy, tiptoeing around this
Couldn't
stuff.
tell you if I liked it or not.
That's
in
right.
any capacity.
No one had any idea.
I had no clue.
Yeah. Okay. And now Astral Chain, the Nintendo Switch exclusive from Platinum Games, scored a
9 out of 10.
What? Better than Control?
Boom.
better than Control.
Oh
One
my
of the
gosh.
best games I've played this year.
Is that right?
It's really
That's
good.
so exciting to hear.
One of the best Platinum games ever. They have a storied history of making stylish action games.
Yeah.
Nier, Automata, Bayonetta 1, 2, and maybe someday 3.
That Transformers game?
Nope, that's not one of the good
Devastation
ones.
was a game.
That was okay.
Yes. But yeah, this is in that conversation of those first two games.
Really?
Like those series.
Wow, very exciting.
I think it's fantastic.
And we talked about a lot of the beats last week. I read your review, and it seemed like the story
It's
Believe
all
it or
over
not,
the
the
place.
sci-fi story about cops chaining beasts to their body is a little bit silly.
Yeah, well, actually, for a platinum game, it hits a pretty serious tone in terms
Oh.
of like trying to maintain the sci-fi kind of post-apocalyptic vibe.
Yeah.
But then everything around it is like, not everything, but a lot of it is goofy, right? Like there's a mascot at the precinct that's like a teddy bear that's walking around, and you're interacting and doing missions for it. And there's a fairy that lives in the toilet that you need to give toilet paper to, and
Like
you go down to
Zelda?
the street and you got to help people do random things that are just kind of disconnected from the end of days, or like this is our last hope for survival.
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, I'll carry your boxes to your car for you.
Weird. So I am excited about new Nintendo IP. I'm excited about new IP, the Nintendo Switch. All this stuff is great. I'm not great at stylish action games. I would say it is the genre that I'm absolutely
Sure.
the worst at. Should I be worried about this thing?
No,
Okay.
I would say this is the most accessible, and I guess it's still challenging, but it's not crushing.
Is somebody who's like an expert, like a Joe Juba, is he going to play this thing and scoff at it?
It depends on the difficulty. So if you play on casual, you'll be fine. You'll get all the way through the game. You might die a few times here
Sure.
or there, but it's not like, oh, I got to restart that boss battle. But if you're playing on a harder difficulty, yeah, then you're like, okay,
If
that
you like
boss just
pain,
worked me.
That's the one to
That's
play.
where you're hitting that kind of classic platinum level. But the
Yeah.
casual kind of middle difficulty is approachable for anyone.
Okay. All right.
More approachable than like Bayonetta, you're saying?
Yes. And I think the conceit there for them is controlling two characters at once is just kind of tricky
Right.
in concept on its own. I know there's AI that's helping you a lot to make it so it's not like you're constantly thinking left brain, right brain, like, something crazy's going on. But it is also, it's just, you feel like you're in the zone when you're putting these duets together. When both characters are really in sync, you really do feel like you're doing something special. And it's not because you've inputted like 1,000 different commands.
Yeah.
It's just you're reading the battlefield, right? So I do think it's more approachable than most of their games and fairly balanced.
Huh.
I had a blast playing it. It's so good.
How long is it?
That really depends. So I would say your baseline, if you're just kind of blazing through it, doing just the critical path, is 14, 15, 16. But there's a ton of
Minutes?
side activities. Yes. It's a speed run game.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, there's a bunch of side activities that can really make that balloon into the 20 hours, and then post-game stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of content to it.
Sweet. Reviews on the site. Astral Chain. I'm excited.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. The Dark Pictures, Man of Medan.
Yeah, I played that too.
That's wild.
Does that name make sense? Like Man of Medan? Sounds like gibberish.
It
to
ain't
me.
great.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it.
And it's
The Dark
great-
Pictures is
The
very
Dark
good,
Pictures
though.
is a better title.
That's-
For a
the name.
movie.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I guess so, yeah. But if that's the name for the overall umbrella, they call that that's like our Legend of Zelda. That's like the preamble
Right.
to what's going to be a bunch of games. But I don't think Man of Medan works as a name just because I listen to so many gaming podcasts, and every time it would get brought up in the last year and a half, however long we've known about it, people are always confused. People are like, "What's this?"
Yeah.
There's like an Until Dawn spiritual successor. Like I had no idea. Like
Yep.
it didn't pop through. Hopefully until this week.
Yeah, the name still doesn't make much sense to
Oh
me.
no.
Oh boy.
Part of it is interesting, I guess, if I really think about it. It does have some meaning, but the game itself is sadly not as good as Until Dawn.
Okay.
Sorry, Reeves.
That's a bummer. I really
Yeah.
liked Until Dawn. That was
I
a
did
great
too.
game.
Well,
It's
look, just
one of my
because-
favorite horror games ever.
Just because it's not better than it, is it still close?
There are things that I loved about Until Dawn that continue on in Man of Medan.
Okay.
And that is Supermassive, the developer, their fingerprint of a lot of player choice, big jump scares. Like they do not shy away from jump scares. They want to throw them at you whenever they can. They want to keep
boy.
you on your toes. And then having like known actors in roles, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
they,
not why I like that game, though.
no, but it was cool to have
Yeah, I guess.
the cheerleader from Heroes and
Yeah.
Academy Award winner.
Oh my god. That was weird.
Yeah. But those things, like it looks like another Until Dawn. It feels like another Until Dawn to a degree. But they really wanted to do something different. For whatever reason, they're like, horror games should be enjoyed by multiple people at once. You could play this game single player just like Until Dawn to a degree, but it's best played online with another player.
What?
Yep. So you're playing this cooperatively at the same time. Ben and I are playing two different characters.
Okay.
You can also play it in what they call movie night mode, which is up to 5 player, all on the couch, or chairs too, unless you don't have a giant sofa.
Go on.
Passing the controller when there's 5 characters in the game, so each of your friends represents one of those characters. So the goal is to pass it and see how you do in this basically 5 to 6 hour story.
So if you play in the select mode from the main menu, it'll say, pass the controller now. Pass
Exactly.
the controller now.
Yep.
I kind of like that.
It is cool.
I'd do that if you want to
Okay.
get 5
But-
people together.
Yeah.
The online play is really cool. So I'm playing with a friend and I'm in a room, I'm exploring, I pick up a note, I read it, I put it down, and I turn around to leave the room, and this 2-headed demon appears. And I just pull out a knife, like this is a scripted thing, and I just start stabbing it. And all of a sudden my friend on the headset's like, dude, stop, you're stabbing me. And I'm like, no, it's a 2-headed demon. He's like, you're hallucinating, it's me. And my friend failed his QuickTime events and he ended up dying in that moment.
Oh, no.
So we lost one of the 5 characters right there.
Oh, like story death. Okay.
Yes.
That sounds cool.
So there'll be things where, like, let's say Ben and I are walking down a hallway together.
Yeah.
We're both seeing the same screen and all of a sudden, like, and I'm like, oh, did you see that? And you'll be like, the hell are you talking about?
Oh, that's smart.
And
It's
then
like,
the boy shows up again. I'm like, oh, you had to see it at that time. And you're like, no.
It's like Dead
I'm not
Space 3.
seeing
They
anything.
Exactly
did
like
that.
Dead
Yeah,
Space 3.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So they play that up really well. The thing that holds this whole game back, there's 2 things that hold it back. The story isn't that great. Like, you go onto this ghost ship, you're these 5 people, and it really doesn't develop or go anywhere. It just kind of falls flat. Like, okay, there's ghosts on here. We better get we better get off here. And you're reading
They
notes
call
about
it the USS Ghost Ship. You think people would assume that?
but you're reading notes about like the history of the people on the ship and stuff like that. But it's just like the reveals just aren't that great. Like, it's so unsatisfactory in that way. And then the biggest thing is the gameplay itself is really scaled back from Until Dawn. Remember, you could hide under couch or under like the bed or in the closet or go into a different room. This game, it's all QuickTime events. So whenever the action picks up, they steal it from you and you don't control running at all. It just, all of a sudden your character starts running and then you might have to do a QuickTime event to like go around a corner or jump over a little pit. That's how they handle all that stuff, success and failure. So a lot of the player agency's gone. They do have some like choices, like there was one time where someone... And my friend was like standing next to me like, oh my God, like,
Well,
I guess
then-
that's it for you.
Yeah, so then what do? Does your screen just revert to your
They have these
friends?
moments set at points where it's like an end of a chapter.
Okay.
So you'll see like a cutscene conclude. You'll go back to the curator guy who's kind of the guy who's kind of overseeing all of the dark pictures for the next few games. You'll see him every once in a while in the environment, just like as a shadow in the background and stuff like that.
Wait, so he's just like the Rod Serling character?
Yeah, basically. Like
What?
he's just here just like telling you like how you did, what to expect. And there's kind of cool things where he was asking, I thought it was just me a question. He's like talking to me and he brings up a question. Do you want to know more about this or not? And I said, yes. And I didn't even think, like my friend got the exact same question and said yes as well. He's like, since you both agree, I will tell you.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, okay, that was cool.
So you said this Rod Stewart character. What,
That's
who
right.
is this?
No, you got it. The Twilight Zone. Like the
Oh,
host of
the
Twilight
Yeah,
host.
Zone.
and Until Dawn had the guy in the
Therapist guy.
the
or whatever.
therapist.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is basically that same role.
Oh, okay.
So he like kind of bookends chapters of the story in Man of Medan. And again, though, the gameplay is just not that exciting. Like it's super heavy on QuickTime events.
Yeah.
And that's all you're really doing. That said, I finished the game and I was like, the story didn't do it for me. The gameplay didn't, but I was really hooked on seeing if we could keep those characters alive. My first playthrough, they all died horribly.
Oh, wow.
Next one, we kept 2 of them alive until the third, where we were able to keep them all alive.
Jeez, how long is it?
6 hours, 5 to 6 hours.
Okay. So you mentioned playing online. That's the way to go.
Yep.
Does it have split screen?
No.
That kind of defeats the purpose in some ways.
Yeah.
Does it have that cool system like Way Out or something where you can like give a pass to a friend? Or
Oh,
anything
I
like
don't
that?
know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Look that up online, people are watching. But
But it's like a discount. Was it $30, $40,
I think so, yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Worth
this is-
it?
I think so. We're going to do a live stream of the first 3 hours, I believe, Leo.
Mm-hmm.
We've already done it.
The graphics, again, beautiful looking game,
Yeah.
character models. Cinematography is top notch for framing those jump scares. So there's a lot to like about this game. It's just, really, this is the story you went with? And
Yeah.
I liked with Until Dawn is like, oh, it's like a Telltale game, but like my choices have actual meaning this time. Like it
They
felt
do in
like
this
it
too.
branched. Like that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
So like it's just like the story kind of like
Yeah,
Poops
if
the
you
bed.
screw up stuff, you could really screw yourself over. Like
Did you bleep that
one failed button press. That's the thing about these games. One failed button press could be like, I've kept this kid alive for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, I hit circle instead of X, and now
Did it
he's
again.
dead.
oh, it's just like real parenting.
That's interesting. Man of Medan, what score did you give it?
7 out of 10.
7.
So
out of
all told, it's okay.
10. Yeah.
It's just, it made me want to play it numerous times and see what comes next. And we laughed all the way through this thing. And,
Yeah.
and it's hilarious while you're playing with a friend because you'll be like, you see an a-? And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? He's like, come on in here. You got to see all these. And I go in his room and he's like, I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, there's everywhere. They're like all over me. I'm like, dude, there's nothing here.
I want to know what the subtlest thing they changed. You know, if it's just like that doorknob is red versus blue. Like, 'cause
Oh, yeah.
now everyone playing is going to be like calling that stuff out, right?
Right,
Like left
right.
and right. That's going to be so bizarre.
So it's a really fun co-op experience. I would, if you're just going into it single player, it's not going to be as great. But if you
Yeah.
have a friend to play it with, go for it.
We all agree that 2019 sucks. Is there any chance you'd fight for this game for top 50?
No, not. Especially coming off Until Dawn, it's kind of a step back.
Well, it's kind of coming off Hidden Agenda if you ever played that Playline game.
Well,
to be
yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Or Bravo 019 or
So
whatever that
they've
VR
made
game
a
was.
V then. Like,
Right,
Hidden
right.
Agenda's the bottom point.
That could be. That could be.
Or like a check mark.
Yeah,
Inverted
it's,
check mark.
yeah, it's higher on the front.
Messy. All right. Thanks, Rainer. That was
Yeah,
very
you bet.
informative. Wasn't that informative?
Oh,
Memories?
I'm very informed.
Okay, great.
It's Man of Van Dam.
You got it.
There you go.
We'll see you later, Rainer, if you want to clap out.
All right, bye.
Matt Miller.
Hey,
We're here to talk about your ancestors.
my
The
ancestors.
proud milling race.
Wow. We've done a lot of milling over the years.
What is it's like stepping on flour? What is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Like with grapes? Like in a grape mash, except you have like what, grain in there?
I think so. Yeah, and then beer comes out the bottom.
I think that's how it works.
and
right.
then one person falls over and says, "Ugh, can't breathe."
I actually am. You're not allowed to carry the name until you learn how to be a miller. So I had to learn as a
Well,
child.
Congratulations. Speaking of learning things throughout generations, Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey.
That's right.
Okay, good luck, sir. What is this game?
That's strange.
Uh-huh.
This is a game about controlling the a clan of early hominids who are seeking to evolve and grow and survive across the many ages of prehistory.
So it's like Evo on Super Nintendo.
That's right.
Except only the later
It's
sections.
like exactly that.
But it sounds worse.
Well, okay. So let me, right up front, I want to say that Ancestors is conceptually a really interesting game.
Right.
It is ambitious. It's emotionally resonant in a lot of ways.
Really?
Yeah, for sure it is, because you're talking about trying to consolidate the scope of like how humans came to be into this sort of like video game action survival experience. And it's sort of grand in its scope in that sense, right? You're going across different generations and then entire periods of history and jumping forward hundreds of thousands of years, and your clan is still growing and is slowly moving through this valley that is where it makes its home, and eventually out from that valley. And there's just a lot of stuff there that I want to like. Mm-hmm. But it's just not fun.
Oh, that part.
Does the tree landscape completely change over these hundred thousands of years?
It does. Well, like, so what
Do you see
changes
mountains
is that
form or
you're
anything?
what changes is that you're moving. Mountains don't form
I don't
quite
know how
that
mountains
quick.
work.
I understand, but
You
they
don't see any
form,
baby mountains?
no baby mountains growing into big mountains, but you do see the clan sort of move both through your own movements that you're exploring, but also sort of as you pass generations and evolutions and things like that, you're sort of automatically transplanted to kind of indicate this idea that you're, after several 100,000 years, you're just not in exactly the same place anymore.
Mentally.
Mentally,
Again,
exactly.
fun stuff to think about. But okay, first of all, let's just do this. Do you have a score locked down for this?
Yeah. So we posted the review. I gave it a 5.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, a great stuff to think about. What are you actually doing?
So in the game, you're controlling your whole clan, but at any one time, you're only controlling one individual. So you can switch back and forth between your clan of usually it's between 4 and 10 individuals. I mean, I guess that sort of changes. I don't want to spoil anything for
Monkeys
for folks,
die?
but monkeys die.
Okay.
And they and you're constantly kind of trying to explore your surroundings. You're trying to expand into new territory. You're trying to figure out what you can successfully do in terms of can I eat this? Can I make a tool out of this?
But often the answer is no, that will kill you.
Yes. Especially early on, it's very, very slow going because you're constantly dying and constantly poisoning yourself and falling off of a tree and breaking your bones. And I mean, it's a nearly constant stream of failure for hours and hours and hours. Now, I want to point out that this is a game that I put many dozens of hours into before I came to the determination that I did. I really tried to give it the old college try.
But you were losing your mind.
But it's just deeply frustrating and tedious at times. It sort of embraces this idea of how hard it would be to figure out how to sharpen a stick. And
I
so,
guess if you had no scissors,
and if you,
because that's how I sharpen my sticks with scissors.
know you do with your scissors. I've seen you do it.
It works, dude.
But it's just some of the things where there's this deep devotion to how we want to feel the frustration of like getting in a fight with a tiger and just always losing. Well, that's all well and good conceptually, but it's just infuriating because you're kind of just wandering around the jungle, minding your own business, trying to, I don't know, figure out how to open up a coconut, and all of a sudden some giant animal comes and kills you, or it wounds you so much that you've got to spend 10 minutes trying to find the right fruit or something up in the tree that you can slather all over your body so that you won't keep bleeding and
Slow
die.
down, yeah.
Right? There's a lot of things like that. I use that as an example because it's one of the standout things is the frustration around the like dodging and attack mechanic that I got angry about. But there's a lot of things like that. There's things like this realization that you've got to just focus on, okay, do I have any females in my clan and are they currently fertile? And before you get too excited,
tell me more.
they've made the game makes sex and the reproduction of your clan just so boring and so rote. Because
well, no one can have the thrilling sex life like you.
Buy me
Sometimes
dinner
it's just a
first,
little
at least.
road.
you're basically finding any female clan members and you switch into their bodies and then you go and in this process that is just always the same and it never seems to change. You go and you pick termites or whatever off of, or pick fleas or other bugs off of another single male in the clan until they like you enough to come like mate.
Or as I call it, marriage.
And
I
then
was gonna say sounds like my prom night.
and then the camera pans away.
Leo, what were you gonna say?
What's your joke, Leo?
My ex-wife, I think, is the one I was
yeah, hell yeah.
And then your little character is pregnant, and you hit the button to give birth, and you watch the same 30-second like birthing sequence animation video over and over and over again because you got to get more babies out. I mean, it's just stuff like that. That's just not. It's not enjoyable. It's not after the first time where you like in the first moment that it happens, you're like, oh, it's kind of neat. We could see the continuity of life, and this little video is showing me this cute little baby hominid, and then the 20th time that you have to do it, you're like, I don't care.
No,
anymore.
you're a hip guy. You appreciate art, something bizarre. Is there an argument of it's not supposed to be enjoyable? This is about an experience.
Yeah, I think there is that argument, and I struggled a lot with that when I never want to approach a review that I'm frustrated with and somehow go down that route of just like, I'm just gonna make fun of this thing.
Right.
Like I really don't believe in that. There's a lot of people who put in a lot of hard work on this game, clearly, and there's some really interesting ideas at play. I just don't think it works. It doesn't come together into a cohesive experience. And even though conceptually it's much more unusual and interesting than the vast majority of survival and action games on the market, which, by the way, that's what they're competing against, right? Like in a lot of ways, it's almost somebody who like Don't Starve might be into the concepts that are at play here, because it's a lot about like, how do I stay alive? How do I eat enough food so that I don't starve to death, like that kind of stuff. And I don't know, it's
rough.
I think for me, like conceptually, when I first heard about the game, I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be kind of like Spore or something, where by the end I'll be building cities or something.
Yeah.
But it sounds like even after like dozens of hours, like you're kind of still doing the same thing. It's not like you're building skyscrapers.
Yeah, I wonder what I don't know if it's a spoiler. I wonder the last thing you invent in the game
just doesn't feel like it ever moves someplace especially meaningful. There are you are sort of growing your species. There are times that you evolve and you're like, oh, it's I look different now.
Dun 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 dun. Okay, great. Thanks. Anyway, sorry, go on.
But none of it ever feels especially impactful. And so instead, you spend a lot of time doing these tasks that don't, I better go out into the jungle and just identify a bunch of stuff. I'm going to look up into the trees and like, that's a coconut. Okay. And then I look over here, there's another coconut. And like by doing that, that's how you're sort of like, you're bringing your baby apes with you. But you're helping them to learn sort of by doing this stuff as you just kind of go about the day and you eat and you drink and then you're going to do the whole process over again.
Life was simpler back then.
Apparently, but it never really came together for me. And much as I am very impressed by the scope of what they were trying to do here, I can't recommend it to somebody.
I totally get it. Do you think
a monkey would like playing this game?
It's an ape.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a dirty ape.
Embracing for that. Do you think the damn dirty ape community would be into this? No, do you think there's going to be defenders out there? Do you think?
I don't know. At the end of the day, this is one of those things that, I play the game that's in front of me and I evaluate my own experience with it. And that's all I can do. And I came away impressed with what they were trying to do here, but not having enjoyed my time with the game. I think it reminded me in some ways, and I'm gonna caveat a couple things here, so give me a moment. It reminded me in some ways of No Man's Sky at launch. I liked No Man's Sky at launch a little bit more than I think some people did. It tapped into some sort of things I love about classic sci-fi, and I thought there were some really interesting things about their procedural generation. But it still was a sort of deeply flawed game at launch. And then they worked on it. And it got a lot better. Ancestors is a game that has that potential. There's a lot of interesting systems. There's a lot of gameplay that, with polish and with additional like writing and events and opportunities for narrative engagement, like I think there's something that could be done there. But the starting point is, at least for me, I think, much lower than where No Man's Sky was at launch. I think No Man's Sky at launch was like a pretty good game that there was a lot of or it was a pretty okay game that had a lot of expectations that were very, very high about it. Whereas like I feel like the starting point here is it's a lot higher hill they would have to climb to get it to a place where I would be personally excited about it.
Yeah.
They'd have to climb a whole baby mountain.
A whole baby mountain. And you know what happens to those after a million years or two?
They crumble.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, Ben. Ben
Yeah.
really summed up my
And
argument, I
volcanoes
think.
are like puberty, I think.
That's right. Explosive.
Well, I hope you learned something here today. That's Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey, everybody. Is it a fun review to read, Miller, if people want to check it out?
I think it's. I did my best.
All right. Hey, there we go.
To make it be, to speak to both the good and the bad here. I think
Okay.
there's stuff there that
But
is
Better than
curious and
Disney.
interesting.
I love it. But I'd imagine if other people aren't hot on it, it seems like the type of review that other sites could be like, I'd rather lick a monkey's
Yes,
butt.
absolutely. And if that's what you're looking for, I'm afraid I didn't give that to
You're
you.
too classy,
Oh,
man.
man.
You're too smart.
I think there's too much stuff here, and there's too much hard work that's evident in what these guys did, and I respect too much about what they did. They tried to do here
Yeah.
to just make fun of it.
Right.
But I also have to be honest, and I didn't. It didn't come together for me.
But just so we're clear, like, what is it like to lick a monkey's butt?
right.
I think that should be our subject for next week's podcast.
Oh, right into podcast@gameinformer.com. Please let
tuned.
us know. All right. You guys ready for emails?
Yeah.
Here we go. And welcome back to the Game Informer Show. I'm now joined by Joe Juba,
Hello.
Jeff Cork,
Hi.
and Dan Tack.
Welcome all.
Oh, Dan, it's good to hear your voice.
It's great to hear me.
And Jeff Cork, you're back in town.
It's true.
I think everyone wants to know.
Yeah?
How was Gamescom?
Gamescom.
So many emails about how's Gamescom.
What is? I gotta hear all the Gamescom news. What's it like over there?
I've been holding off on reading
Yeah.
other websites so I could get the Jeff Cork down.
Yeah.
The cathedral's still there.
Okay.
Good.
They still have beer that you can purchase.
Okay.
Um,
I heard that sausages were banned. Is that true?
it's true.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, they threw away all the recipes too, so there will be no further sausages.
That's very
I don't know why they did that.
That's
It's a very
impressive.
strange decision. But
Is there any fun to share
any
from the
fun to
Gamescom
share
trip?
from Gamescom? When is this going live?
Thursday.
The
Thursday.
oh, okay,
The
yeah,
big one.
Yeah, the Predator game, Hunting Grounds.
Oh,
I played some of that.
You did. Okay.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, I had a good time. Ilphonic.
But it seems quality doesn't seem like, okay, this is a Predator game, but also on the cheap.
Let's just say,
Just choosing words carefully.
it's like a fun budget game, from what I can tell.
Okay. And you love Predator.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Predator.
Yeah.
I want nothing more than to be killed immediately by the Predator.
Okay, is there anything you can say to people who maybe like tried out a game like Evolve and thought this like asynchronous,
Well, if
or
what you did-
asymmetrical multiplayer?
If you
isn't-
did not like the lack of Predator in Evolve,
Yeah.
this will, to quote Tim Curry, scratch that itch.
Hang on. So can you choose to play as the human or the Predator? Or it's just like the multiplayer thing where it's like one person's the Predator always, and that's the way it
Yes.
works, just hunting everybody down?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That seems good.
Yeah, and unlike Friday the 13th, when you are not the Predator, you have guns, so you can like shoot
Yeah.
stuff.
You indoctrinated me into the greatest movie tagline of all time is Predator 2.
Yeah.
Which is
He's in town with a few days to kill.
because he's in LA. It's so good.
exactly.
It's so good. I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Podcast@gameinformer.com is where people send in emails. We had a lot of very nice emails.
What were they about?
Mainly Predator.
I've just been heads down Gamescom.
Yeah. So as you might remember last week when we said, hey, please write in with your favorite memories of the 7 people that were laid off at Game Informer, and we'll have them on the podcast. If eagle-eyed fans might notice they are not on the podcast.
unless as I no.
Please, flip of gut. Nope. Okay,
Nope,
the mask
sorry.
is staying on. It's still Joe Juba.
Okay.
We wanted to have them on. We were planning on having them on. But I will be sharing all those emails with them as soon as I can. Thank you for everybody for writing in. There's a lot of very sweet stuff. Only a couple of them made me cry. But boy.
They were just so mean.
You people.
They said, not a good host.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, but for a nice kind of memorial for those folks, the latest episode of Replay is kind of like a highlight cut. So it's Replay Friends. So if you would like to walk through some of those favorite memories, please check that out. It's good.
A lot of really good clips with Chandler, and Rachel, and Monica.
Well, hang
I
on.
watched over the weekend.
Hang
The one where they eat the ghost peppers.
Chase Smith wrote in. He said, hey, fun fact, GI staff equivalent to the Friends staff. He's thinking a lot about this. He says,
If he says that I'm Fat Chandler, so help me God.
I know one community member said I was the creepy neighbor, so
Oh, no, not even
yeah,
Gunther?
weird neighbor is Tack.
I don't want to be that guy.
Joe is Ross. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. He's the handsome one.
Is he?
No, he's the worst
He's
one.
the nerd,
He's
right?
way better than the neighbor.
All right, Ben Reeves
yeah.
is Joey. Andy is Chandler. Okay. Leo, you're Phoebe. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jeff, I assume this is you, Cork. You get Rachel. Hottie Bobati.
Oh, will we or won't we, Jeff?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Hey, get the Jeff haircut. Yuck.
Miller is Gunther, and this person says that I'm the nude neighbor.
The nude neighbor.
Wait, I
You
thought that was
wish,
Tack.
Chase. No, he said weird neighbor and
Yeah.
nude neighbor are separate neighbors.
The weird,
Okay,
the weird
it's been-
neighbor is the one with that ongoing joke. He's just like, you don't know, or whatever, like to cats and other weird.
You've seen a lot more Friends more recently than I have.
It's just
Yeah,
that
I
old
remember.
guy who comes by and just like wanders in sometimes. He's like
Says
the
you don't know.
non-funny Kramer.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah,
Spot on.
yeah. Okay, there we go.
Good work, Chase. So anyways, the way this works is podcastinginformer.com. People write in with questions, words of wisdom, sweet things about our coworkers. A lot of very thoughtful things sent into podcastinginformer.com. And then we choose our absolute favorite email and then put a pin in the map where that person is.
The big
The big,
map?
the
from.
big board.
The big board. The little big planet itself. Felix writes in, hello, crew. I'm Felix from Sunshine Coast, Australia. He says, hey.
Do the accent.
No. He says, hey, what was the first piece you wrote for Game Informer? And is it funny to look back on now? How did it shape you?
Interesting.
Very
so
interesting.
the first thing I wrote for Game Informer, I think, was a preview for a card game, Feria, which is still out there.
Very on brand.
Yeah, not a very exciting piece or anything, but an interesting, cutting your teeth into the online world of Game Informer. But I always remembered my first cover more than anything else.
Which was?
Dark Souls 3.
That's Dark Souls 3. That's fun. Then you didn't go on, online support for any cover story trips before that either?
No.
That was the first on any cover story trip?
Yep.
That's wild.
I started off when Game Informer Online and Game Informer Print were like two separate
Oh
things.
yeah,
so
we had different offices on the same floor.
yeah, it was like
basically,
two
yeah.
websites ago. And yeah, most of that stuff is purged, unfortunately.
Do you remember what the first thing you wrote?
The very
for it was?
first thing
Yeah.
I wrote? Oh, boy. I think I did like a roundup of terrible video game commercials, I think.
Wow.
Like a feature on that.
That'd be good.
Was that before YouTube? Did you?
It was right around YouTube.
So you were actually putting and embedding the.
I don't remember if our technology allowed for
Yeah,
that.
were you just describing them? Like, you should have seen this one.
Yeah, he dropped a lot of really dope rhymes about Tektites and Octorox. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to run out the clock, sorry.
Okay, you're done. Then my turn.
Good intro for that anecdote. Yes.
I am going to tell a story now. It's I don't remember if this was the actual first thing that got published, but the first thing I did was wrote a review for an expansion to the console MMO of EverQuest. I think it was called EverQuest Adventures.
That sounds right.
So they just handed you the keys immediately. It
yeah.
said, go wild, kid.
Well, okay, so when a new reviewer starts and you don't exactly know where all of their expertise lies and they don't know how all the conventions and stuff, you generally don't want to put them on the high-profile stuff that's going to be scrutinized right away, right?
However, in this example.
In this example, everyone wanted to read about EverQuest Adventures. So, but no, yeah, so that was the first thing, and I actually went back and reread it a couple months ago, that little review thing, and it is awful. It's not even big. It's a tiny little review, and it's just because what did the person ask when we go back and read stuff? Do we?
How did it shape you?
No, before that.
Is it funny to look back
Is it
on?
funny? No, it's terrible. It is painful to go back and look at very old writing because it does that's one of the good feelings that you're actually evolving or getting better as a writer is when you go back and look at old stuff and you're just I would not, my current self would not even submit this for publication.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was talking with somebody about I remember a while ago, I for some reason just was looking through Facebook Messenger history and I was looking at some of the messages I was sending in 2005 and I was like, holy Lord, was I stupid. Just grammatically, punctuation. I was like, I thought I was a decently intelligent guy leaving high school, but apparently I didn't know anything.
Nobody
But that's
wants to
Facebook
see
Messenger.
that.
Nobody cares about your grammar on there.
Yeah, you're right. And I was just sending it out to random people too. It's not like I was talking to friends
Sure.
even. I was just hoping for connections in the void.
Hello, are you the girl with the muffins?
Good boy.
My name is Bun. Ben.
No. I don't write. No, I think like the first thing I wrote was like for the magazine. It's probably early 2011. We had a feature in the magazine that was I think it was called F This Game.
Oh,
Where it was like
yeah,
games you were
yeah,
really
yeah.
frustrated by as a
Yeah.
kid. So I wrote about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it was like, I think it boiled down to like 4 sentences, but I remember like losing so much sleep about that. I think I wrote like 3 pages for it, and then it was cut down to that. I was like, okay, well, I guess this is a lesson in editing out of the gate here.
Yeah.
But then the first video I ever cut together it's an otherwise very unremarkable game, but I'm so happy that because it was my first video, it's baked into my soul, which was an episode of Reiner and Phil, everyone's favorite series, on James Bond's Bloodstone, the Daniel Craig original game. Remember this? Bizarre Creations made it. No one has talked about that game since 2010 when it came out.
Pretty sure
but
no-
yeah.
yeah.
Certainly not. More people talk about Everything or Nothing, the original
Yes,
Pierce
absolutely.
Brosnan one.
Was that the last game that Bizarre Creations did? Or did they do one more?
Did they do
James Bond?
Geometry Wars 3?
I don't think.
Or was that
they
after
did.
that? No, because they beyond that they did like Blur, right?
Okay, they did another. I think their last one was a James Bond one though.
Oh,
that had,
really?
like driving and
That might be it.
shooting stuff.
That could
Yeah.
be. Yeah, maybe not. Leo, what was your first thing?
The first thing I wrote for the magazine was very recently. It was the Living Games piece, Lifeline of Living Games.
Oh yeah,
I reviewed Rainbow Six Siege and Hitman.
and A+.
Yeah. Both got A triple plus.
Did
I
you-
would
you-
not budge on that.
You said that you enjoyed writing, which you weren't expecting.
Yeah, I mean, it was easy. It was easier to hit the word count than I thought.
Writing is so easy.
I mean, anybody can do it.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
out there, try it for yourself.
Leo, what was your first video as an intern here?
Oh, good question. I don't know. It was probably some... were we doing Test Chamber at that point? I think we were.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It was probably something like that.
Yeah. Well, it was around E3. I remember you made like the 2-minute highlight cuts.
Yeah.
I think the first
Those
thing
were
you
the first features.
Yeah, I think the first thing you shot might have been the Pokemon Go Man on the Street thing.
Yeah, but I think the earliest feature might have been the thing I worked on with you, which was just ranking the reload animations from Overwatch.
That's right. That's right. Which we put on social and stuff. That's right.
Right.
Oh, wow.
That's
Good
fun.
memory. Time to update that one, baby. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Okay. Let's not actually do that. Lou.
I'm dropping everything.
Look for it soon.
Joel writes in and says, hey, this week has made me awfully nostalgic, so I decided to reorganize my GI magazine collection. The oldest issue I have is number 250, Evolve, all the way up to number 317, being Modern Warfare. As I was looking through some of these, I was curious as to what y'all's favorite specialty issue has been. Whether it's for the cover art, a memorable trip, or a memorable experience making the top list. My favorite are the top 300 games of all time and the top 50 games of 2016 for the amazing Overwatch art. That cover makes me laugh because it's like, it's Tracer and Sombra up front. Like, now I fell off Overwatch around that time, but the idea of like Sombra being front and center is very silly, like permanently on that Game Informer cover because she had just come out.
At that time, we were just all really excited to get a quote-unquote Blizzard cover. And
Yes.
it's not really a Blizzard cover because it was just a game, but it was a really cool way to highlight that.
Right. And it was like
But
the
they-
comic book artist that drew it.
Yes.
Yeah, Blizzard provided that art, and they
Yes.
they decided what characters sort of took precedence. in
Right,
that,
right.
but-
I was like, yeah, Sombra, okay, she's cool. Yeah, that was fun.
I don't know. My favorite is the characters who defined a decade, which I guess we would have done almost like 9 years ago now. But that was a 3-part cover where the artist Sam Spratt, who does all kinds of like cool promotional like movie Hollywood stuff and all that stuff now, just did a real nice sort of, what would you call it, mural almost of like 3 connected covers that just had all of our characters on it. And it, like, I don't know, it was a fun concept, I thought, to like dive in regardless of like game genre and just sort of dig in on like the any number of ways that that we connected with characters, villains, heroes, whatever.
Is that the one where all they're like all in like a tavern or something?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind
Is
of
that-
like
I see that.
kind of like
I see that one linked all the time.
It's like a sepia kind of color scheme
Okay.
almost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
It's supposed to look like a Renaissance painting. I think was like the
Yeah,
direction. And
exactly.
Stuff. The one that I remember reading that because I was like, that was the issue when I started. I didn't work on that or anything, but that was the issue that was like just been released or whatever.
Oh, cool.
But I remember looking at that and it's like, I wonder how this Bonnie choice is going to hold up from Red Dead 1. Like, I like Bonnie a fair amount, but I'm like, I think it's just that everyone is playing Red Dead 1 right now. And so that's why it's like, of course Bonnie defines the decade. And it's like, she's good.
I don't know. I went back and replayed Red Dead last year.
Yeah?
Before Red Dead 2 came out. And Bonnie's pretty great.
Really?
I guess I'd say I was surprised at how... like she's really important really early on, and then like so many characters in that they sort of have a spotlight for a few hours of game time, and then they kind of slide away. But I don't know. I feel like that Bonnie choice held up better than I would have guessed.
Okay. Right into podcastgameformer.com with your specific Bonnie memories.
She defined a decade.
We'll try to get her on the podcast to share those memories as soon as possible, unless something jumps in the way. Okay. Oh, I guess I like the sci-fi issue. Is No Man's Sky, and like that was a weird era where it's like I think everyone was a little bit on the fence about like, do we put No Man's Sky on the cover? It's like an indie game. We'd never
what is
never
this
really
thing?
put like an indie game. I think that front and center on the cover. A classic looking indie game, you know.
Yeah.
And so that was not one. I was like, okay, well let's wrap it up and make it like an overall sci-fi issue. But then it turns out that game, like no one batted an eye because that game ended up being so huge, and that game was so fascinating that it's like, yeah, of course you'd put No Man's Sky on the cover.
Yeah.
There was no Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel, for the co-op issue.
No, I don't even remember that being on the cover. I remember the co-op issue being on the cover, Cork. It was very clear.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I just remember Brian Vore, who wrote the No Man's Sky cover story, like he was really stressing out about that one. Because like he always preferred like a narrative structure to all of his cover stories. It was like all the Batman games, right? It's like, and then Catwoman swings by and says, "Catch you later, bud," as she jumps off the building. And Batman looks down and says, "Next time, Catwoman."
Yeah.
And then for the No Man's Sky trip, it's like, all right, here's Sean Murray talking for 2 days about the power of humility in the face of the universe. Have fun writing it, Brian Vore. Like,
I stood on a cliff and looked down and saw the power of humility in the face of the universe.
The algorithm was stunning. Let's see. Adam from UT. Everyone knows that.
Yep.
He says, hey, last week you're talking about games that have a final boss that's nothing like the rest of the game mechanically. He's like, you all forgot about Metal Gear Solid 4. Of course, that's the greatest example of that, right? Of just like the pure, almost fighting game style fist fight.
Yeah. I guess I guess I was wrong. In the way I presented that challenge, I think that there are answers like Metal Gear that do it.
Yeah, I think so. Also, Jacob Geller, former intern, wrote in with the same suggestion, saying, hey, Metal Gear Solid 4, you idiots. Congratulations on Jacob Geller. He's been making videos on his own YouTube channel, video essays.
I've been watching all of them, and they are, without exception, amazing.
Oh, great.
They're all really good.
And he had one recently about trying to find the last secret in Shadow of the Colossus, and it blew up.
It's
in a big
incredible
way.
too.
Yeah. Check it
So
out.
watch all of his videos. I have not come across a stinker yet.
There we go.
I want to let me amend or not amend the challenge, but
boy.
explain a little.
What is the challenge?
The challenge is trying to get a word in edgewise with this guy.
Sorry. Okay.
No, go ahead.
It's just like
No, shut up.
So Laust from Copenhagen, Denmark writes in and he says, hey guys, I heard you guys talking about boss fights last week. And he just wanted to throw in there that he thinks the best one is Mr. Freeze from Arkham City because it makes you have different tactics each time. I was thinking about that. I know we talked about greatest boss fights before on the show, and I had brought it up then. But yeah, that was in the back of my mind during the discussion. I was like, I really love that Mr. Freeze boss fight.
Do you like crawling under grates in video games?
Well, if there's some big guy stomping around above you, a little bit. Little bit. How about you?
It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, also, Laust writes in and says, P.S. You can't spell love without Leo V.
ADER.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alex from Greensboro, North Carolina. He says, hello, I was thinking about your discussion regarding boss battles, and I feel like classic games were able to approach this a lot better than modern titles. No health bars, difficult patterns that reward memorization, and being a final test for your abilities that you honed, gained throughout the level. I feel like Sonic games did this particularly well. Then again, I also love weird-ass stuff that have nothing to do with the base game, like in Sonic Mania, when suddenly you have to fight Dr. Robotnik in Puyo Puyo. Which I agree is a very fun one. So he says, what are some of your favorite out of left field boss battles?
I like the first boss battle that you encounter in Battletoads, where it's like a side-scrolling brawler, and then all of a sudden it switches to like the perspective of the boss itself as you're like punching enemies into it to defeat it. At the time, it was absolutely amazing, but then now we just talk about that jet bike level now.
That's all anybody remembers from
Yeah,
that
stay
game.
on brand, man. Come
That's
on.
a good answer. That's a
Yeah.
good answer.
Did they have that in the Game Boy version, Joe?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Prem from Fiji says, "What do you think was the most lame boss fight for you guys?"
Oh gosh, that's a really hard one.
So my answer to this is, it's not necessarily the lamest boss fight ever, but lame in terms of like expectation versus execution, right?
Yeah.
Like the widest gulf there, I think is actually GLaDOS in Portal.
Oh, that's interesting.
Really?
That
The
like
first one.
Yeah, in the very first one, where like it's such a great character, she's taunting you throughout this whole thing, and then you get there, and it's just like, I'm gonna flood some poison gas, and you're just like doing this weird like dropping orbs in a fire kind of thing.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
like it just didn't feel like and the writing during all of this is funny, like all of the conversation is, but just like mechanically, I was like, this is that boss fight. This is how I win.
Right.
But yeah.
And then it's the second one where one of the orbs is obsessed with going to the moon, right? That's like the big thing. That was weird because then remember in the Lego movie when the one guy is obsessed with spaceships and then he gets this big payoff? It was like the exact same joke structure. Leo, do you recall this?
There's only a couple jokes out there in the world.
Oh, yeah. Which
Yeah.
is your favorite?
I love the knock knock one with the oranges and the
That
bananas.
is fun. That is fun. Reeve said he recently made the mistake of teaching that to his nieces or nephews, but it was the first knock knock joke he ever told them. So like you can't start with the one that breaks the format.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best
Yeah.
one of those is, well, you start it. Do the knock knock.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
That's also good.
Damn it.
The one you regret the one that I've regretted teaching kids before is the interrupting cow one.
Yeah.
Because once they get that, they think that is the funniest thing. Even if they're retelling the joke to the same person.
Yeah.
Right.
I regret teaching my kids you have something on your shirt and then look down and then hit them in the face because they do that all the time. Like he did it to me yesterday. Actually,
What a
tried to
little
do
brat.
it. Yeah. Because I will do it to him occasionally and I'll get him and then
Yeah.
like 5 seconds will pass and go, no, Dad, you got something on your shirt. It's like,
How old are they? Aren't they
I don't
growing too old for
care.
this?
no, I'm just teasing. They're 10
and 40, something like
10
that.
and 40. That sounds about right. What are you going to do?
Did you get your 1040 by the way? Ryan Clausen writes in and says, "Hey Ben and the GI crew, I had a quick question for y'all. Do you guys ever go back and play old games on systems that typically don't hold up well? I found myself going back to Persona 4 on my PS2 recently, and I'd imagine there's a wealth of games I haven't gotten to that would be fun to experience."
That would be all games, right?
Wait, he's saying Persona 4 doesn't hold up?
I think so.
I think he's saying it doesn't hold up on the. I think he's more attacking the
PS2.
old platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I understand everybody loves Persona 4, but Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a big part of that pie is for the Vita version, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's the one that I think has like scored the highest. That's the best version of that game, but
Yeah.
people still liked that game before on PS2. I think it gets the Vita version gets a lot of attention because it's like unquestionably the best game on Vita, so it
Yeah.
gets held up like that a lot.
Right.
But yeah,
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
The one that sticks out for me that is the SNES versions of Street Fighter 2. Because at the time they were amazing ports of the arcade games.
Dan's a pro level player, yeah.
But then like
wrong.
we've been spoiled, and you can play like the arcade version of it on various collections and re-releases and everything. And then I played it with some friends at I don't know, like the SNES Classic Mini thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it's Dalsim's levels missing a row of elephants, like all these little things that you just
Unplayable.
it's just not as good as the arcade version.
I
Go
was-
figure, because it costs freaking $70 or whatever.
Yeah.
There's like a slowdown when you break things sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Funny.
they got close enough at the time. It was like, this is the best thing.
Yeah.
Right.
if you want lots of examples of this, pick up the PlayStation Classic. Many old games that don't hold
Yeah, or
up.
check out the archive of replay. But we were playing on the Genesis Mini recently. We did a new gameplay today on that sucker, and checked out Virtua Fighter on there.
Oh, the 2D version of it?
I had no idea that they made a 2D version of Virtua Fighter. That
Yeah.
seems insane.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Why would they do that?
Why they do that? I indoctrinated my nephew into loving Pokemon. He's like 5, and I was like, had a book that's like, hey, here's 800 Pokemon in it. And I just gave him that book and it was like, game on.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? And now, like, you know, I hung out with him this last weekend and it is insane. Like, he can't read, but he's like, oh yes, Bulbasaur, here are his moves, and just runs these down. I'm like, how are you learning this? Like, how are you memorizing moves for all these 800 Pokemon? Like, just the ability to conquer that stuff. But anyways, he didn't know that there were Pokemon games. Like, you know, these 5-year-olds, they got like the brain of a 5-year-old or something, right? And so I brought my N64 and then put it in, and I was like, hey, get a load of this. Pokemon Snap. In this, you just take pictures of Pokemon. Mind was blown.
That's the game you introduced them to?
Yes.
You know, I'm not opposed to that.
Thank
I
you.
think Pokemon Snap is amazing.
Yes,
It really
I agree.
is.
But he was confusing because like he can't read, but he could navigate the menus just fine. But the part that stumped him was like the analog stick on the N64, like especially because it's inverted in that one to look around. It was like, all right, I cannot get this kid to actually aim the camera and hold down a button. It was very frustrating.
But that's like introducing someone to like giving someone a Star Wars encyclopedia, and then the first thing you show them is like, here's this movie called Solo, everyone. And
I mean, he
Well,
didn't even
no.
tell him it was a game, so we can start there.
Yeah, you can start there. And then also Pokemon Stadium, which that game is funnier than I remembered to go back to. Like, it's so bare bones, but just like the VO for that game really makes me laugh because the announcer, they only like recorded like 12 lines. And they're just like the most generic things that he's yelling out through the entire thing. Where like literally one of the things that he shouts is, "Oh, these Pokemon are of a different type," but like no specifics of what's going on. It's the best. So yeah, everything on the N64, I guess, is the answer to that one. Let's see, Daniel from Toronto, Canada,
Good name.
writes in and says, "Hey, podcast, on this past podcast or in the email section, you launched a discussion about some games you played during your childhood, such as Myst and Jurassic Park and some others. Have you ever heard or played Warlocked?
Warlocked?
It was a real-time strategy game which came out in 2000 for the Game Boy Color. I remember loving this game despite not knowing how to play it and none of my friends ever hearing about it before." We do not know this game, Daniel.
I've never heard of
You've
it.
stumped us. We're supposed to be Game Informer. Look at us.
Past tense.
Yeah.
That's such a crazy. It's a
Warlocked.
what?
RTS on the Game Boy.
It's like a
Color.
predecessor to The Witcher.
I wonder if we even have that, like in the vault.
I bet we do.
Well, we gotta find it. Let's go
Yeah.
dig it up.
Let's dig it out and send it to Daniel. Check out Game Informer's save. Oh, here's one. Andrew Berg. Andrew Berg writes in and he says, "Hello, crew. I had a thought about Death Stranding. I feel like this is a poor man's Breath of the Wild, but for PlayStation."
Oh no!
God, I'm having palpitations already.
Really? Little Emperor palpitations? But
This
what
sounds
if
like a comment I would ignore everywhere.
I know, but what about this?
But wait.
But
Okay,
what
okay.
if the reasons for the barren-looking environment has to do with multiplayer? For example, because players haven't entered the game, so the entire world looks like this grassy, rocky look. Once players enter the world, the environment will constantly change. Look, this is just a thought. I was wondering if I'm crazy.
I mean, it is the first Strand game. Anything can happen.
That is true. I think the online stuff is just going to be, you pee-pee on the same rocky
Oh
rock.
no!
I mean,
Kojima said it.
I
You're allowed to
think
say it.
I think that's
no.
accurate, but I also think there's going to be more stuff. It's going to be like asynchronous stuff. Like person A does something here, and it makes it
goes pee pee.
It goes pee pee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I can see that happening. Like that Dark Soulsy asynchronous relations that you can have with other people, even though you're not actually playing with them.
Yeah, so it's not so much PvE, it's PvPP.
Oh Jesus! You spent all day waiting to make that joke, didn't you?
Dan, off the dome, baby. Off the dome. Let's see. Speaking of off the dome, Joe, do you want to come take Dan's seat or anything over here?
Okay.
I feel like we need to officially pour one out. We got these Lucios here. The Lucy O's, the Overwatch cereal that we have never done anything with.
tasty.
We were waiting on a very special occasion.
For what segment would that have been part of?
Surreal, seriously, serious cereal series? Something like that. Let's see.
I had those at the BlizzCon reveal.
Oh,
They're
really?
pretty tasty.
Not bad.
Yeah, they're not
That
bad.
tastes good.
Joe, will you please do me the honors of dipping your head
Oh,
down
yes.
and letting us pour one out?
Of course.
Okay, great. Thank you. Only the finest. All right, this one's for you, Surreal. We'll miss you, buddy. All right, email of the week. What do you guys like?
I like that.
I mean, that was cute.
Obviously, the hundreds of nice emails are the winners here.
Right.
So do we just put a pin on the entire board?
Is that kind of a cop-out? I kind of love it, though, at the same time.
That is a cop-out.
We could put it just here at the office. Another Minnesota pin.
Let's not even put a pin in, but email of the week goes to everybody that sent in very nice thoughts about our coworkers.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for everybody that wrote in, and they will see those emails. I promise you that. But for now, we're going to take a turn for the surreal because...
Seriously?
Turn for the cereal?
Because we recorded weeks and weeks ago a segment with the interns at Game Informer. And so it's going to be a different tone than current Game Informer. There's probably going to be some references which are going to be confusing. But this was recorded weeks and weeks ago. And it's a fun chat with our wonderful batch of interns. So stay tuned for that.
Joe, I'm sorry I said shut up to you earlier.
And welcome back to the Informer Show. I'm still here, and I'm joined by a wonderful batch of interns. Hello, interns.
Hello, Ben.
How's
Hello,
everybody
Ben.
doing?
Pretty
Doing good.
Good. Hey, Blake Woog.
That's me.
What kind of last name is Woog?
It's Austrian.
Really?
Yeah, don't know where in Austria, but it's Austrian. That's as far as I've traced it back.
Does it translate to anything?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
That's something I should look into, though.
Yeah, with a last name like Woog, you've never looked into
Well,
it?
they have that book at the state fair that goes through your family crests. I found my crest. I don't know what it means, though.
Okay. Is it some sort of werewolf-like figure?
No, it's pretty standard. It's kind of boring. It had a
Okay.
snake.
That
What,
seems
what
all right.
perks does it give you? Like free
Yeah,
housing?
right. I don't know. Unfortunately, the book didn't give me a whole lot of details on that.
That's a
Okay.
shame.
You have to find out on the battlefield.
Yeah, right.
And that's the voice of Joseph Stanichar.
Hello.
Stanichar?
I have no clue. Like, I haven't gone through any book or whatever Blake's done. It's just the name I was given.
Okay, it's beautiful. And we have Emma McMurphy.
It's me.
Oh, very simple. McMurphy. All right, got it. Wonderful to have y'all.
It's not my real last name, but it's for my Twitter handle. So
Is that
it's all
true?
good. Yeah.
Wait, so that's the internet version of you. That's the
Yes.
one you want out there.
Yeah.
Okay, mysterious last name. Are you also a Woog? Woog in disguise?
Wouldn't that be weird?
That would be very weird.
I
Hey,
didn't even know.
internship is wrapping up, y'all. I hope you've had a weird adventure up here in Minnesota. To help kind of draw some of this adventure out of you, we have a bunch of questions from the community. We pulled it
yeah.
from Facebook, Twitter, my Twitter, Game Informer's Twitter. Some questions were impossible to answer. Some should be easy.
Fun.
So if you guys don't mind, should we jump right into this?
Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
Let's do it.
Thank you for your questions.
Yes, thank you, everybody. That's very sweet. There's a lot of very smart ones here. All right. Charles Carmichael. First question. What was the Game Informer cover story the month you were born?
Oh, man.
Wait, that wasn't what we prepared for.
Well, I didn't tell you all the questions ahead of time, Emma.
Okay,
I
we're
know-
being quizzed now. This isn't a podcast.
Yeah, that's right. All segments on this podcast are kind of quizzes in a fun way.
I actually know this one.
Yes.
Because we were, for the picture.
The picture.
The picture,
Uh-huh.
where we asked about, like, what questions you people want to ask us.
Yeah.
I picked up the magazine from when I was born, which was August of 2000, and that was 007, like James Bond.
Yeah,
So-
and it also it said there's a quiz inside the magazine. What was the name of the quiz?
It was like, how much of a nerd are you? And I actually took that quiz,
Uh-huh.
and I was a 262, which is pretty low, I think.
Okay.
Like, it had a bunch of the other editors, like, their scores on there, and
Yeah.
I think I was higher than one of them.
Okay.
All the other ones, I'm not as nerdy as them.
You're doing
So,
fine. I don't think you're that nerdy of a guy. Maybe it's just that you're very young, the fact you were born in 2000. But we saw Spider-Man Far From Home together, and not spoiling anything. At the end of the movie, there's kind of a throwbacky cameo. Not spoiling anything.
Yes.
And at the end of it, Joseph looked around and said, I know him from somewhere, but I don't know who that is exactly. And it was shocking to me.
I can remember it now. I did have. I'm not that young. I did have a fondness for that. The source of that reference.
Okay, great.
But it just wasn't unlocked in my mind.
Okay. All right,
so-
that's fine. And you didn't know who Walter White was, but that's fine. That's fine. I didn't even
He
make a
doesn't
note
know
of
what
that.
Zombieland is.
Well, all right. That's a little more forgivable, don't you think?
He was
There's no
9
way.
when that movie came out. It was not like he was going to go
Yeah,
see it in
that's
theaters.
true. What a
I saw it
weird
pretty
thing.
young.
Also, we've been playing a fair amount of board games lately, and we've been playing Just One, which is like a word-based board game, right?
Yes.
Very fun.
Yeah, and then you like have a series of one-word clues and try to guess a clue. And yours was carton, Joseph. We're trying to get you to guess carton.
Yeah.
So everyone's doing like milk things. Let's see, and then what? Like cigarettes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And your guess was cigarette milk. Is that the way that went down?
Because you said, like, I was confused about that. And you were like, you're just...
You're like, maybe you're too young for it. Maybe you're too young for it. And you're like, well, cigarette milk. Maybe that was a thing before I was born. Like, what the hell is cigarette milk?
I don't know. The 40s were weird, man.
Just cigarette milk mustache and everybody going to work. It's a sweeter time. Anyways, did anybody else remember? Weren't you, it was like Mario Kart 64, right, Emma?
Yes.
Oh, that's
well,
very
it was
fun.
Mario something. Was
I think it was Mario Kart 64 on that Game Informer cover.
it wasn't my birth month, but it was
It's
the
close
year.
enough. Yeah.
It counts.
Blake, what did you have?
I don't. My birth month was December, and I pulled from April because that was the closest I could get, I guess. And I don't think I remember. It might have been a Tomb Raider. It was on the front.
Okay,
I don't remember fully.
that's fine. Jordan Wiley wants to know, have you ever held a paper magazine before that photo was taken?
Yes, actually.
Oh,
I
good.
I've held Game Informer magazines.
Oh,
That's
congratulations.
True. That's real. I used to read Game Informer on my tire swing in my backyard.
Tire swing. That's the quaintest thing I've ever heard
I
in
was
my life.
adorable.
What issues do you remember from back in the day? Which is probably like 2012.
Yeah, there was a Transformers game.
Fall of Cybertron.
Fall of Cybertron.
Yeah,
that was the first one that I think.
Did you have the cover where it's Optimus Prime like holding
Yeah,
Bumblebee
yeah.
like he's Jesus
I
Christ
stole
or
that
something?
from my best friend. And I took
Really?
it home, and yeah, absolutely.
Oh
Yep.
wow, that was a Matt Miller joint. We went down to San Jose for that, something like that. It was
That's
very
awesome.
fun.
I definitely remember that.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
sweet.
yes, I've held a paper magazine.
Do you remember how you found out about Game Informer?
Yeah, it was my best friend in middle school. He would get them, and he would read them, and he would cut out pictures and put them on his door.
That's
And I
awesome.
would take the discarded ones that he's cut, and so I've read a lot of Game Informer articles, but I have not seen the images that go along with them.
Oh, what a weird thing.
Yep.
Did you, when you got the internship, did you reach out to that friend and say, hey, remember that tire swing? Better yet, do you remember Game Informer?
I wish. I don't know how to get in contact with him anymore.
Oh,
These
all
just
right.
kind of fell off the radar. But yes.
If you're listening right now, friend.
Yes, that's right, Alex. I'm looking for you.
Yeah.
Come find me. I'll
Uh-huh.
give you back your magazines.
Yes, and we'll talk all about Cybertron or whatever you want to
That's
talk about,
absolutely
man. Okay, Charles Carmichael, again, another oldie. And by the way, the point of this podcast isn't to just be fascinated by how young everybody is. I feel like that's always a topic of conversation in these, but we're going to move beyond that eventually, I think. But most
we get
importantly,
old.
yes, exactly. What was your first video game console? First console you owned? Or I'll say handheld too, but yes, please, Joseph.
So I started video games in a bit of an interesting way. We couldn't afford a console, and I really wanted one. No specific one.
You just want to experience
I
some type
wanted
of video game?
the video games.
Uh-huh.
Because up until that point, I was playing like Webkins, like on. I don't even know if you know what that is.
No, what is Webkins?
Webkins. So they're these like plush toys that you could like buy at stores. But they came with this little code, and you could go. It was like a browser game where like you'd have like your pet, and instead of like paying for like a subscription every month, you just need to buy new toys and get those codes. And like they were really adorable, and you could like design your house and everything, and so that was fun. But
what year is this?
Oh gosh.
I mean, this year right now. What year is this?
Oh,
I've blacked out for a while.
It's a thinker.
I don't know. When was Club Penguin? It was around Club Penguin.
it was
times.
around that time, yeah.
2008 or something like that,
2007,
maybe?
That
Okay.
sounds pretty right.
Okay.
But yeah,
That was
so
your gateway into video games is Webkins?
Yes, absolutely.
Gross.
Yeah, and so
This is a
our
judge-free
school,
zone, okay?
yeah,
You're right. Sorry.
our
That's
elementary
cool.
school had a raffle, and I really wanted those Webkins actually. But also they had this thing called a Nintendo GameCube, and I was like, okay, I'll put a few tickets into that. I did not get any Webkins, but I was the sole winner of that Nintendo GameCube.
But this is after the Wii is already out and stuff. right?
I think the Wii was new. It was still in
Okay.
that phase where like it was hard to get a hold of.
Sure.
And so like the GameCube wasn't super dated at that point.
Okay.
And yeah, I got that with a copy of Spider-Man 2.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, that was my first like real non-Webkins video game.
Did you then go hot and heavy on GameCube? Like, did you buy a lot of GameCube games at that point? Is probably a better way to phrase that.
Yes, I wish I'd played better games. Spider-Man 2, it can still be kind of fun. Compared to the newest Spider-Man, it's kind of like, I'd rather play that.
Yeah,
But,
of course.
I did not play The Wind Waker or
Any
Mario
good
Sunshine.
games? What was the best game you played on GameCube, do you think?
Sonic Adventure 2.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2! Wait, Blake, is yours Sonic Adventure 2?
No.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
You have to remember, Ben, that this was the age of movie tie-ins. And I, as...
You have to remember, young Sonny. It was a different era.
have to remember.
Little did you know.
So, you know, I got Happy Feet the video game, which was hot trash, but I loved it because
Yeah.
I had no taste.
No, that's fine.
And many similar experiences. Cars the video game, which...
Look, I did the same thing back in the PlayStation and Game Gear. Like, that era, I would just buy everything licensed. And look, we all make that mistake when we're dumb and young.
Yeah,
I think is how it
absolutely.
works.
But I think I've grown, and also those games don't really exist anymore, except for Stranger Things for some reason.
Right. It's all just on mobile. It's that weird era where it's like, oh, they do Toy Story 4 video game is out, and it's like a match 3, and that's it. That's all they're trying to do to tie into Toy Story 4. It's like, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
But Emma, first console, what do you got?
I want to say it's little Game Boy Advanced.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because how I found out about games was there was this after-school program, and everybody would just bring it, and I would just have to stare at a wall and wait for my mom to pick me up. But then, luckily, I was charismatic and made friends. So
Oh,
I'm like, hey,
congratulations.
can I get in on that?
So what were you playing on that thing?
My friends had wonderful Barbie games that I could not put down. And then that just evolved into going onto PC and playing, what was it called? It's like word throw up.
Word throw up.
Barbie Magic Genie Adventure.
So only licensed Barbie games got you on this journey. That's
yeah.
bizarre.
classic.
Do you think those games would hold up in any way if you went back and played a Barbie game? now?
Absolutely.
Really?
Especially Barbie Magic Genie Adventure because of your little, you get the genie bottle, you can just hook it up, you just unplug the cap, and then Barbie will pop out and fly on her magic carpet with you.
Boy.
Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. I looked up gameplay for it the other day, but
Uh-huh.
of course somebody had to put up a camera. Sorry, I keep going away from
You're
the
cool.
mic.
Is it like filming off screen for that
They're
thing?
they had to film off screen for it. It's so old. But it had so many views and all the comments were just full of nostalgia.
Oh, weird.
Like it wasn't 8-year-olds watching it. It was 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds.
So we need to play that on replay, and it would secretly rack up 1 million views on YouTube because no one else is doing
Yeah, that's the
Barbie
secret
Dream
right there.
Adventure. That's bizarre.
We've
So a
got
lot
the
of
monopoly on that.
yeah, that's true. So then weird PC stuff for a while because of that.
Yeah. And then the Game Boy Advance had a lot of, like, there was Barbie Secret Spy Extravaganza. I don't know. Something like that.
Uh-huh.
And she's in this
classic.
super tight suit, and you can see her ponytail waving around as she's trying to stealthily walk past people.
Pretty sweet GBA animations. Yeah.
I'm
can
sure she
imagine.
didn't crouch at all. She just had to, like, go to the left a little bit to dodge enemies, but it was fine. It worked.
It's all right. I like it. Blake, first console.
Super Nintendo. Started with
Okay,
my
here we
dad's.
go.
It was my dad's, and we had Super Mario World and Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart, and then I gave that to my cousin who was moving as like you're gonna not have friends right away, so here's a video game you can play.
Yeah.
And I suffered for a while without anything, and then I got my GameCube and went off from
Interesting.
there.
And so timing that works out. So it was like peak GameCube era. Or were you going back to the GameCube?
Yeah,
as well?
right at the beginning.
Oh,
So
really?
Were
it
you
was-
playing good games?
Yeah. I started with Luigi's Mansion and Pac-Man World 2.
You make it seem like those both aren't good games. In your
Pac-Man
mind.
World 2 is actually great. It's a fun 3D platformer for a Pac-Man game.
Are you gonna bash Luigi's Mansion?
Luigi's
right now,
Mansion is
Blake?
also it's also a very good game.
Okay,
I
all
played
right.
Wind Waker. I had Donkey Kong Jungle Beat with the bongos. Sonic Adventure 2, I did play.
Everybody accidentally played Sonic Adventure
The
too.
music is good.
So that handoff for the Super Nintendo from your dad to you,
Yeah.
was he like weird controlling dad of like, you have to play Mario World. I need my young son to understand why this is so great.
No, it was just because he needed someone to play with. And so it was that thing where I'm a child, so I'm not very good. And so we would play it every once in a while so that I could consistently get better, so that we could, try to get farther into. I still think to this day I haven't beat Super Mario World to the finish.
Oh wow, that'd be fun to go
It was
back
one
and
of the first
do.
games I've
I've
ever
got
played. Yeah,
I've got that on you, Blake.
I should go back and beat that.
I liberally used the like the rewind feature in like the SNES Classic to beat the final boss, but I did beat it. So
There we go.
You're always giving me crap
Hot
for not
tips.
playing
That's true.
these great games.
Is
There are
this
a lot of games.
is this how the dynamic works? Is everybody gives Joseph crap for not
Yeah.
playing great
Pretty much.
games? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Barbie Queen gets off scot-free. Is that how this
That's
works?
right.
Okay.
We got
Barbie's a
the
classic.
Dolphin Sea Adventure coming up soon.
Wait.
Wait, they're still
Are
making
you
Barbie
lying?
games?
Is that serious?
No, that was a joke.
Jesus, all right.
Game Informer exclusive.
We were joking that those titles were just literally word throw up. So we're like dolphin, ocean, breeze,
Yes. Anything that's pretty, put it in this title right now.
sparkle, mermaid, extravaganza.
That
I'm
could
sure that's a
so
real thing.
easily be a game that exists.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Forrest G. Lastman is a very important question that was asked a while ago on this podcast, but he's sticking with it. Does anybody here own a sword? Have you ever owned a sword?
No.
No.
You asking for a friend?
Too young for swords.
Well,
A
what's
real
the
one?
appeal?
What's the appeal? It slices and dices, and you get to feel like a samurai guy.
What are you practically gonna go slice and dice with your sword?
Terrorists?
Okay, in that case, yeah,
I don't
you had
know.
me there.
Of
You had me
course.
there.
Yeah, like fruit and stuff. If you have like a tree in the backyard, you could probably do some damage. It's the best weed whacker there is.
Okay. Well, when you put it that way, I feel like I should own a sword.
Maybe like an actual weed whacker. I feel like that might.
Yeah, that's fun, Joseph.
Um,
Okay, here we go. Next question. We have. Oh, okay. I guess this is a real one. Mike Sweet wants to know, what is each of your favorite games? Your favorite game of all time?
Me?
Yeah.
So we were just talking about this, but Skyrim is a game I just cannot get sick of, no matter what I do.
That's your number one.
You literally can do anything. You could play the whole game as an alchemist. You don't have to fight anybody. You can just collect stuff and make potions.
How many times have you bought Skyrim at this point?
Oh no. I have it for VR, PC, and Xbox 360, and I think that's it.
Wait, VR, really?
It's amazing.
Is this PlayStation VR or?
PlayStation VR.
Okay.
I mean, moving around takes a while, plus the goggles fog up on me
Yeah.
a lot. I think that's just a personal problem, but
Just because you're so into Skyrim, you're breathing heavily as you're playing the game.
just wheezing in there.
I think Kyle Hilliard gave that VR game. What did he give it, Leo? Like a 5? He says that that's the number one game that he gets hate mail for, is like Skyrim VR Defenders out there.
I don't think it's as bad as a 5 at all.
Well, hey, he's sitting upstairs.
Yeah,
can
you don't
attack
gotta
him
write
at any
anything.
point.
No, I'm leaving in
If
a few
only you
days.
had a
I'll
sword.
just let it sit.
Yeah, exactly. Go after his hair. That's the first step.
he cut it.
Yeah, I guess he's doing fine. Could be tighter though. Okay, so Skyrim number one. Joseph, what do you got for your number one favorite game of all time?
Well,
Oh boy, he's holding up
He's holding
some sort
a
of Barbie
He brought a
adventure
prop.
phone case.
you got me. No, Breath of the Wild.
Great choice. That is actually the correct choice, right, Leo? Yeah, way to go, man.
Yep. You know, it's a popular game, but I'd say for good reason. The last feature that I'm working on is basically Breath of the Wild is great, and other games should take note.
Okay, hang on.
Okay.
The other games should take note. This is a
Yes.
topic I'm very interested in, because we're at a point now where games should be taking design lessons, and they should have been in development long enough to learn some things from Breath of the Wild, right? Have you seen other games out there start to pull from Breath of the Wild yet?
I don't think like games that are like out today.
Yeah.
I mean, there was that whole thing about like a game that was like blatantly like ripping off Breath of the Wild.
Right, the
that
Chinese game that everyone lost their minds
somebody
about.
smashed a PS4 over. Come on,
It's
guys.
cool.
But as far as I mean, AAA games like take a lot of time to make. And
Right.
I think we've still got a ways to go. I think Breath of the Wild 2 will be out around the time that these big AAA experiences, especially like open world, will hopefully be taking a note from Breath of the Wild. I don't want every game to be a copy paste of Breath of the Wild.
Well, that's where you're wrong, Joseph. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no.
No. I still am crossing my fingers and still have high hopes that the Horizon Zero Dawn development cycle was so synced up with Breath of the Wild. They both shipped the same month. Was it March 2017? And so in theory, right when they're planning for what Horizon Zero Dawn 2 will be, like kind of in the, blue sky phase of that game, that was like peak Breath of the Wild love. And I hope that that has seeped in and that Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is just wide open, go anywhere. It's, it's such a better. I know it's impossible to design a game around unless you're Nintendo, but I just want other big AAA studios to try and tackle that problem.
I think there's a way to go like halfway on it. I don't think every big game needs to be completely as free as Breath of the Wild.
How do you go halfway?
I think that one of the points of criticism of Breath of the Wild is that its story is okay and kind of weirdly told.
Right.
Whereas Horizon Zero Dawn's story is, I think, fantastic.
Yeah.
But
Well, how do you do that? How do you go halfway then?
well, you'll
Solve
have
the design
to read
problem.
my feature,
Okay.
which should be up when people are listening to this. It's still like at the point where like the title isn't
Sure.
completely decided on, but like the most recent thing I've written is probably that.
Okay, gameformer.com/Breath of the Wild or however that works. I'm sure it's in there. Blake, number one game.
Yeah, it fluctuates. I think right now it's Persona 4 Golden, but in the past it was Borderlands 2, Breath of the Wild, Uncharted 3 for a while.
You shifted off of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I had a really strong experience with it where in college I was on spring break and I just got to sit for like 3 days and just have time alone with that game, and it was a beautiful 3 days. It was gorgeous. But then, Christmas break came around and I found my Vita and I played Persona 4 Golden, and
That's it.
yeah, it took me over instead.
That's wild. Okay, impossible question here from Alex Britt. What's your most unpopular gaming opinion? Which is always a great way to make friends on the internet.
Yeah,
Most unpopular gaming opinion.
I have a few.
Okay.
One very controversial one that I don't think I should say, but it's
Please do. Please
think
get
you
up
guys-
on that mic and
wanna hear
let it
it.
fly. I will bleep it out if it freaks me out.
Okay, the Ooblets devs did nothing wrong.
Oh, okay. No, wait, you're scared of that one?
Yeah, do you see the hate they get? I'm terrified.
I think we'll be okay. Yes, that
Okay.
was an interesting case. Were you following that news story closely?
Very closely.
Okay, so do you want to relay the saga of what happened?
Okay, so it's a little biased explanation here, but the Ooblets devs come out with a devlog every month, and in their devlog they have this tone that's kind of sarcastic and jokey, and they made a joke about how they were nervous about early access, saying we're kind of nervous because we know people will get their judgy little hands on it. They'll make jokes about that to their audience. And so their recent one was on a controversial subject, the EGS store,
Right, because it's exclusive to Epic Games Store now. Yeah.
and they used the same sarcastic tone, and I felt like a lot of people took it in a dirty way, their sarcasm.
Yeah, but I think it was sarcastic, but what I liked about that, it was just relaying hey, here's exactly why we did this. Epic Games is going to promise us that we'd make our money back up to this point, and it's like a deal that you just could not refuse.
Yeah, it was extremely transparent.
Right.
But the way everyone's argument is, I don't care that it's EGS. I care about how you relayed the message. It was very sarcastic, condescending, and disgusting. I'm like, disgusting? I wouldn't use that adjective.
Yeah, it's a quirky game. They're going to have a quirky style post, but it's just weird when you don't think that you're going to get that many eyeballs on something that you've tailored to a certain community.
Yeah, and then all these other people came in who I'm sure have never heard of the game before, wanted to put their opinion in and just read that one devlog and not the rest of theirs that fit the exact same tone.
Right.
So I feel like they just came in blind
Right.
and judged it too early.
Yeah, for sure. Imagine if the Epic Games Store had user reviews. Imagine how every one of those reviews would be sitting right now because everyone's so irate over every one of those games. Yeah. But hey, Ooblets looks cool.
It looks
It looks
so
adorable.
nice.
Yeah, it looks nice. Okay, shake it up. Joseph. I'm sorry, Joseph.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Unpopular opinion?
Yes.
Okay. I think breakable weapons are okay.
They're okay.
They're okay.
I heard if you think of them like ammo, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of thinking about it. I think, as I've said, not every game needs breakable weapons. perhaps not any game needs breakable weapons, but I think for a game like Breath of the Wild, it really encourages you to go outside your comfort zone. And I think like if you really like own that and are just like okay with that,
Just shake things up every once in a while.
yeah, like everybody's got a cool fire sword that they love, but sometimes it's time to try out that electric sword or that stick.
It's
I
true.
don't know.
Yeah, like imagine if the weapons weren't breakable in Breath of the Wild.
It wouldn't work. You'd find the stuff that you liked and not use anything else, and I think it would be less fun.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, but for Breath of the Wild 2, do you want them to have breakable weapons?
I think maybe like late into the game, you can find like a smith where they're like, okay, you can make some weapons maybe like have a charge similar to the Master Sword.
But even
or
that,
something like that.
I would feel that would be so much worse in a way to know that like, well, I'm being punished for the first half of the game or whatever until I get to this point. It would be, I would see that finish line in the end throughout that entire game until I got to that point. I feel like it would be distracting. I feel like I was having a lesser experience up until that point, instead of just, this is the default, get used to it.
I can see that. I also think that's a thing in a lot of games. That's like skill trees and like all of
I
that.
guess so. Yeah, maybe you're right.
They de-incentivize exploration so much, though.
Yeah.
Is the problem. Breath of the Wild, the whole, you find a chest, you get money, oh boy, but like you get a cool weapon, that helps. That's the reason you went there, It's
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And then if you can pay to repair, then the incentive is money, which you can find in grass.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not in Breath of the Wild.
Okay, you know what I mean.
Yes, in theory, right. Okay, this was Cork's idea, and we can couple it with this question for Blake here, because Cork said that we should do a video that's called Hot Takes with Cool Blakes. So here is your hot take, your unpopular gaming opinion.
With a singular cool Blake, though.
So many hot takes. I think my current hottest take is that the Black Eagles house in Fire Emblem is way overrated.
Way overrated?
Way overrated.
Why is that?
I think you pick any other house before you pick Black Eagles.
And it seemed like it's the most popular by far as well.
Yeah, and I think that's because of a lot of the characters that it has. But in terms of, I'm not going to spoil anything, and the reason I'm upset about it is mostly spoiler based. But from what I've seen of other houses, a lot of the major story beats and moments are played way better in the other houses.
Is it kind of like the most vanilla house?
Yeah, in a way, and it doesn't. You go for one reason and you kind of end up without the reason you joined and that kind of thing. It's sometimes you get cutscenes in other houses for things that you don't get cutscenes in Black Eagle's house. And
the Black Eagles. So people like the characters? Are they just the hottest of the batch, or what's going on here?
Yes,
I think
objectively that is why most people pick Black Eagles.
Those monsters.
However, I think Black Eagles has a strong case to be made for they're mostly mages and mages are very powerful.
Okay.
And so there's also that reason to go join. But yes, I think mostly it's just they're the hottest. I think that's probably the reason a lot of people pick that one.
How does gaming work up here for you guys? Did everybody bring their consoles? Everybody playing Switch? Are you guys playing PC stuff? Or did you just say, we'll be at Game Informer, we'll play in the office?
That's what I said.
Is that right?
It doesn't work like that.
There's not much playing games as you'd expect.
There's a lot of reading to do.
Yeah, that whole thing.
But yeah, I did bring like pretty much everything and played very, very little of it.
Really?
I played Night in the Woods. I played Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and an hour and a half of Fire Emblem Three Houses.
You get it.
I really want to play more.
Yeah.
I really do.
Wait, aren't you from Minnesota?
No, that's this guy.
Wait a minute, but didn't your dad pick you up from the movie?
He did. Yeah,
Okay.
he was visiting.
Oh, that's
from-
very confusing.
You can do that.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he's from South Dakota.
Oh,
So, not
and that's
that
where
far.
you're from.
No.
It's this whole thing.
A valiant effort, though.
I tried.
I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cincinnati. And you're from Minnesota, Blake?
Yeah.
We're at in Minnesota.
Hastings.
Oh, God's
So,
country. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's a beautiful town.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm on the bus a lot, so I play a lot of Switch.
Oh, gotcha. Emma, where are you from?
I'm from Peoria, Arizona.
Oh.
So it's very much a blessing that I am here for the summer and not
Yes.
during the winter, which I hear was very terrible.
Everyone makes too much of it. It's fine.
Is it?
It's a little uncomfortable. You're not going to die out there. Well, some people die, but most people don't die out there. It's totally fine. Okay, let's see. Oh, here we go. Kanto Kid is wondering, and for these, everybody jump in at any point here, is wondering, some of you may not be from Minnesota or maybe from a distant state. What was the decision-making process like when you decided to go to Game Informer and become an intern? What was your motivation, and how has it worked out for you?
Well, I did not expect to get the internship.
Really?
Yeah, I applied for it, but I was like, I just finished my freshman year at college. Like, there's no way. Little old me, no way.
Humble brag.
Yeah. And then Ben Reeves was like, "Hey, you want to intern for Game Informer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that. I've just got to find out a way to not be homeless."
Yeah.
So I've been living in a frat house for the past 3 months.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I actually I really haven't interacted with them that much, but last night we played Smash Bros. And Mario Kart.
Oh, that sounds
And
great.
It was a great.
Wait, it's like literally a
experience.
frat house at the University of Minnesota?
Not literally,
Okay.
but it's a house full of frat boys, you know.
I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. What was the first interview like for the internship? Were you talking to Cork or Reeves or?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
Over Skype, and yeah, we talked about the pawpaw, which is a fruit in Ohio. I don't feel
Seal
like
the
I need to
deal.
elaborate on that any further. I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
You're in, kid. Bizarre. What was that interview like for the rest of you guys?
It was very nerve-wracking. We didn't talk about fruit, but
Do you remember like the toughest question or anything?
probably when they put me on the spot and they're like, "Could you give us a pitch right now?" I'm like, "Totally. Let me do that right now."
Really?
Yeah.
That's really hard.
So I thought it was over once I gave my pitch. It was like, how Grey Wardens can redeem themselves in the next Dragon Age. And I
That's
was
pretty
just-
good.
I guess, but it's not relevant. It was it's just at the top of my head, but you know.
That seems so hard. Did they do the same thing for you, Blake?
Yeah. Yep. The hardest part was after my pitch. They said, "So how would you go about doing that?" And I really thought about it, and I was like, "You're right."
Good
They're like, "Would you do an interview?" I was like, "Yes." They're like, "With who?" I was like, "Oh,
He's
the
pissed
developers." You know,
Oh my
I-
God.
It was yeah, that was really nerve-wracking.
That sounds impossible. Leo, did you even do an interview?
Oh yeah, it was a formality.
No, not for the job, but for the internship even?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you were there.
What was that like? I don't recall this.
Yeah, I don't know. We talked about like what I wanted out of my future, you know, things like that. You had seen my video work, so there wasn't like I don't know. I didn't have to prove anything really at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Any fruit?
No fruit.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, besides my Chiquita banana hat.
Oh, yeah, that counts.
Okay, let's see. Hugo Agostino says, "Does GI make the interns go fetch donuts and coffee for the real gaming journalists in the office?"
No.
Has there
they
ever
don't.
been one of those complete BS quests of, "Hey"?
No.
Okay.
I would
thank you.
I would
This
actually
is a
say
trap.
I would
Is that what you're asking?
No, I don't think so.
Off camera, Ben is just like standing in the corner, like
Yeah, he's flexing too. I never knew him to be a strong.
he's
lad.
holding his sword,
Uh-huh.
which would really come in handy right now. But no, they don't. Seriously, I've never been asked to fetch coffee except once
Oh.
by this guy.
It was me. We were out of coffee, and I didn't have time to make a new pot. I
Okay.
did do that.
To be fair, you always ask him to scroll on his own screen and Google stuff for you. Like, wait, scroll back up. Go back up. You
Okay,
know-
you'll just be glancing over and see something.
You don't need to expose me. Like this.
Why
I'll
do you do that,
expose you on
Joseph?
Twitter
Why
and
would you do
everything.
such a thing?
I would go so far as to say that I think we were given donuts.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think people brought in donuts and we got
Look
to have
at
some.
that. That's
We
a hell
never
of an
brought people
internship.
donuts.
Yeah.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
were given to us.
I think, let's see, when I think of BS tasks for you guys, I know at some point you had to carry down like VR equipment because there was like a
Oh, but
meeting in the
that-
conference
yeah.
room down to like another room. And I was like, that's kind of lame.
I mean,
It
it was.
built character.
It seemed like an important meeting.
I guess in some ways. Nick DeFeo says, and Leo, do you want to keep your mic off for this one? Thanks.
Off?
Yeah, off. Okay. Thanks. Nick asks, does Leo make you bow to him?
Because he's an E3 king, is that
I
yes,
think
yeah.
that's what they're going for.
Only when he's wearing the
crown.
attire.
Right,
and,
right.
he's got the
This is
staff,
most
yeah.
days.
He
Gives off that vibe.
he steps into his persona and
Yeah, that's right. Who has the worst taste in games in the office? Nick wants to know.
me.
That's up for debate.
Oh, you think you?
I think like it not even like taste. It's just that like it's just a running gag that I
just
haven't played video games.
Very few games.
I haven't seen movies. I haven't consumed any content.
And so I don't want to speak to your taste because Breath of the Wild, obviously a great game. It's
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
terms of
I
other-
played that for 300 hours and haven't stepped out of that bubble
Yeah.
that much. I'm trying. I'm
Well,
really
you-
trying.
You know a lot about stuff like Harry Potter, right?
I do. Harry Potter.
Okay.
I like. I've read the entire series to my younger sister, doing all the voices of the characters.
Doing all the voices.
every single voice.
What's your favorite voice to do? Some Slytherin, I hope.
Oh, from Slytherin?
No. You do your actual
Oh,
favorite. You do your
okay.
actual favorite.
Here we go.
Professor McGonagall is a professor at Hogwarts.
And Rubius Hagrid is another character. And that's about it, you know.
I thought you were going to keep going.
And you only scored a 297?
Yeah, well, that wasn't a question.
That's beautiful. Did
Thank
we
you.
answer that? Yeah, I guess so. Hey, they ask, how cool is Andy McNamara? You're welcome to flip this into how big of a jerk, but I don't think that's relevant. But have you guys interacted much with Andy
Yeah,
so
he
far?
brought his dog down a bunch of times, so I'd say pretty
Barnaby.
great.
Oh,
Those were good days when Barnaby showed up.
Good dog
Like-
days.
Good
Yeah.
dog days.
Like, Andy, cool guy.
Uh-huh.
Barnaby, like, just the coolest.
Smarter,
So comparatively,
more handsome.
I think.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Did anything surprise you about Andy McNamara or anything like that?
His sheer number of shirts.
Look forward to Extra Life this year. We'll be auctioning off Andy McNamara's shirts. Let's see. Oh, here's a hot one, also from Nick. If you're able to pick the next cover, what would it be and why?
Oh boy. Of upcoming.
Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to make sense, right?
I guess not. I
Just-
mean, you can't do Barbie, but yeah.
Okay. Well, okay.
Or you're welcome to make one up.
I'd say maybe.
Am I?
Or do you want to go?
No, I was just questioning. He said, yeah, you could do whatever you want, just not Barbie.
Just don't do the Barbie thing.
I mean, Death Stranding's hot.
Oh,
that would
wouldn't
be my number
great?
one. And it's
Yeah.
exclusively because I want you to do rapid fire with
Oh,
Kojima.
wouldn't that be the best
Oh,
thing?
I think that would be so great.
Oh, because it's like in no other interview format, I feel like will Kojima open up about some of Metal Gear's history and Konami, right? But I feel like in a rapid fire, when you're asking him probably 75 questions about
Right.
Death Stranding, you could squeeze in like a good 12 killer Konami Metal Gear questions in there, at least, that would fly under the radar.
I think that would be the best way to do that.
Do you have his cell phone number?
I can check.
Okay.
We'll talk after the
yeah,
show.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. You're looking forward to that game?
Yes. Yep. Mostly because I just need to know.
If you had to guess the Game Informer review score for Death Stranding.
It's just a question mark.
That'd be amazing. First question mark out of 10.
I think 8.75. I think was probably that around that area. Would be my guess.
Remember this. Timestamp this, everybody.
Yeah. When I'm wrong.
Yeah. We'll see.
Are we going like Price is Right rules, where like if you,
You
go
say
up?
9,
Yeah.
then you're more right than me? Yeah, probably.
Okay, then 9.
Does anyone else have a pick for what they'd want for the next Game Informer cover story?
I like Death Stranding.
I'm with you. Maybe it is.
Who knows? It'll work out.
Who's to say?
Also, here's an impossible one. Nick also asks, "Are you friends with Ben Hansen?"
I don't know. What are we?
What are we to you, Ben?
Friendly.
What is
Oh,
this?
okay. Thank you.
I invited you to my house. Like that's
That's
pretty
true.
friendly, right?
I played football in your
commit to
backyard,
us.
so yeah.
Yeah, you played football with my girlfriend. That seems pretty friendly.
Played football, yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. Let's see. Ricky Hannigan says, "Who is the weirdest stuff on their desk, either from yourselves or editors?"
Oh man.
I don't know about weirdest. I'm really jealous of Matt Miller's Lego stuff that he's got up there.
It's absurd.
Pretty sick.
Yeah.
I really like that a lot. I don't know about weirdest. That's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
can
go-
say Miller.
Joe
for the weirdest.
Juba's got a pretty great desk. He does.
It's pretty
Yeah.
sweet.
A great life. I'm gonna take a skin. Dominant Sichoki has an impossible one. Have you watched the entire Overblood Super replay?
No.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fine. That's fine. Leo, have you watched the entire Overload Super Replay?
No, I've seen a few episodes.
Okay, good. Then me neither.
Oh, that's fun. Let's see. Chip Kimball, great name, says, hey, since they're all youngsters. Is that true? Are you all youngsters?
Older.
I
I'm
identify
out of
as a youngster.
college.
Okay.
I'm still a teenager.
Counts. Since they're all youngsters, I'd like to hear their take on media coverage of gaming. What's it like having seen inside baseball knowledge, and what were their expectations originally? So just, what did you expect in terms of gaming media? And then once you get inside Game Informer, how did it meet those expectations or break them? What are your thoughts on, media coverage of gaming in general?
Big question.
It's a biggie.
I think for me, listening to a lot of podcasts and reading a lot of games journalists talking about, I was talking to so-and-so, or we were just in town doing this with them. It felt very interlinked. And since being here, it still feels very interlinked.
Interlinked.
The connections that all journalists have, regardless of where they're stationed or where they're writing. It's just a lot of people know a lot of people.
And we're still the most remote. But I'm with you. It's crazy. When I first got to Game Informer, just in every meeting, even talking about developers or whatever, everyone would just use first names and be like, wait, what?
Right.
Like Andy would be like, yeah, maybe we could reach out to Randy for a comment on that. And it's like, Randy Pitchford? What is happening here? Yeah.
Everybody knows
Randy
everybody.
Pitchford.
It's crazy. That was my biggest. I guess I kind of expected it, but I was also kind of, how true can that be?
Right.
And I got here and it was very true.
It's
Everybody
a small
knows.
community, man. It's really wild. Yeah. Do you guys feel like, and again, I'm not just fascinated by how young everybody is, but do you feel like we do a good job of catering to gamers of your age, or do you feel like we're blowing it and that we're out of sync and old?
Well, you're very relevant. Like, that's our main requirement for the pitches we do, is everything has to be what's hot now.
Right,
So-
right.
I don't know how much better you can get than that, because
I guess that's true.
everything times out so quickly, it feels like sometimes.
Right, right.
I mean, the kids love Fortnite. I guess, personally, I don't, have a huge affinity for it. I'm not saying it's crap. I haven't played it.
I just like the idea of a 19-year-old saying the kids like Fortnite.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
My fellow kids love the Fortnites.
Uh-huh. But the problem is, we cover Fortnite on the site, or especially in video comment, and then in video coverage, and then every comment is just, shut up, we hate Fortnite,
Yeah.
F you, we don't want any more of this. And it's like, well, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, I
the
think,
views,
Fortnite fans, and I speak from, someone who lived with a very dedicated Fortnite player for a year, my roommate. They play Fortnite and not much else a
Okay.
lot of the time.
Yeah.
I'm not generalizing. I'm sure,
Sure. Well, what about this question, though? What about, expectations
Sure.
versus
Oh.
what you guys realized when you got in the office? Everybody in gaming press is a smaller community than you thought. Are there other things where it's like, oh, it feels more like this than I thought in this office?
Yeah, I mean,
Boring?
it's interesting. I was going to say chill.
Chill.
Not in the sense that everybody's got their feet up and super people work hard here, but you're writing. A lot of that isn't visible. So I think in a lot of movies and media and stuff, when you think of something like a newsroom or something like that, you think of phones constantly ringing, people shouting at each other,
All the president's men, yeah.
I was just gonna say.
Oh, really?
The newsroom or else good night and good luck. Yeah, just
and so it's very much not usually that.
Whatever the opposite of All the President's Men is, that's what the Game Informer office is like.
Sure, a movie that I definitely know
Sorry.
and have seen.
Look, you weren't familiar with The Terminator, so I don't know if I can help you at this point.
To be fair, I'm not even really caught up on modern stuff.
I know, that's fine.
I'm really gonna
There you
try.
go.
I'm really gonna try. I think that's something that I really learned from Game Informer is that I need to be more on things. I don't need to know everything. Everybody's got their beats and stuff, but I need more of a beat.
I don't know. You're fine. You need to catch up on everything. It's too much. There's too much nonsense
There's a
out
lot.
there. Other raw takes, maybe the first week or something, did you have those epiphanies of oh, weird, it's this?
I don't know.
really
That's
liked.
how I felt like about E3. I thought it was going to be.
yeah.
It wasn't going to be fun at all. We were just like gather around. Like we have 5 minutes to get this article out there to announce it. Like it was a race against other websites or something making the announcement.
Right.
But it was actually a lot of fun watching it with everybody gathered around a TV.
Just cracking jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
E3 was great. Yeah.
Oh, it was
It was
Really?
a lot of
fantastic.
fun. We found out about Skatebird and we just could not get over it.
All hail skateboard. Wait, isn't that Epic Games Store exclusive?
Skatebird or is
Skatebird.
it Skateburb?
Bird.
Burb is their Twitter, but Skatebird.
Oh,
is
okay. Because I know like that's a cute way to say bird. Bird.
It is.
doing
pretty
it.
Is that what the
cute.
kids are
Joseph.
saying
Yeah,
about
yeah,
birds?
you're-
Yes,
you're hip, man.
that's the kid lingo.
You're in it.
He's channeling it.
Was E3 ever stressful? Was there ever some
Just-
time when somebody snapped like, just get the image, Joseph? Anything like
Kyle,
that?
no.
Kyle loses his mind.
I think what like people here are really good at is like knowing that we're interns. We're here to learn and we're
Right.
learning. So I've gotten like we've all gotten criticism and I welcome that. I want to get better and that's how you get better. But like there's never been like you just suck. That's at the job where I'm paid to work.
Yeah.
Where I get all of that. Which is great.
naturally. Jack Kearney says, "Who do you fear on the GI staff the most, and why is it Ben Reeves?"
Pass.
Is there an editor that you thought was tougher? Not like tougher to work with, but like tougher in your writing than you expected? For like what's that called?
I mean,
Proofing and
nobody
stuff.
For the proofs.
Yeah.
nobody compares to my college volleyball coach. So
That's number one?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ben Reeves is just like 20% of your college volleyball coach?
yeah.
Okay. That sounds fair.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I suppose I mean this with love. I don't.
No, please.
I'm not trying to.
You can mean it with whatever you want,
No,
man.
I
With
need.
love, go
I
on.
needed the kicks. You know, when you get a proof back and it's got all yellow on it, like
Uh-huh.
it's there for a reason. You know,
Uh-huh.
and so I think it's either JV or Joe.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
They got. I don't want to say they went hard. They did their job on my on some
Right.
of my
Yeah.
proofs,
I
and
can imagine
I
that-
appreciate them doing that.
What about JV in particular? I've heard the Joe stuff. I can imagine the Joe stuff, but JV I never thought of.
JV, I don't know. Maybe it was just he's read a couple of things. It wasn't a ton, but those
Uh-huh.
things maybe have just maybe they were just really rough. But it was stuff that he knew. I went to him for stuff that he explicitly knew about pretty heavily. And
Right.
So a lot of his stuff was cleaning up some language about stuff so people didn't get confused and
Was there a big writing lesson anybody took away from their experience here? I know that's a broad question, but anything where it's like, oh, here was a real tangible piece of writing advice from somebody here in the office.
it's not like a I don't know what the word is. It's not like a phrase that I'm going to carry with me forever, but it's
Uh-huh.
like dead construction is a problem and it's something that can be very easily fixed.
What is dead construction?
It's when a sentence starts with like there is or it is or something like that just kind of ruins a sentence right before it even starts. And so that was something that was hammered. Apparently I do that a lot. I like to write as though it's going to be read out loud. And that doesn't always translate so well when you're just reading it. And so a lot of my internal writing quirks needed to be kind of ironed out to fit better for a reading
It was
format.
like too Hemingway-ish. It was just too like to the point. Like then this, then this, then this.
It was like I know how I would say it in my head, and so that kind of tone carried into all of my sentences, and that
Right.
does that. It's going to be picked up differently by different people reading that, and
Right,
so I
right,
needed
right.
to tweak some stuff. Yeah,
Interesting. Chef Lubu says, hey, who's your favorite Dynasty Warrior?
great question.
Kasumi?
Mr.
Is that
Dynasty.
correct?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't know.
I thought you were a big
Googled
Dynasty
it.
Warrior fan.
I don't. I didn't. I haven't played a Dynasty Warrior game. I've played all of the spin-offs.
Oh, that's so bizarre.
Yeah.
All right.
I
It
feel like
counts.
that's a lot
It
of
counts.
people.
Yeah, that works. Lucas Adams says, which article, story, or project are you most proud of? Emma is
Sorry.
beaming.
It's not published yet, but I think I'm allowed to talk about it. I don't
Please.
know. Okay, it's my Paralyzed feature. It was my first interview I ever did, and it was like the head honcho of that game because it's only one guy making it.
What's
so
the game called?
Paralyzed.
Paralyzed.
It's like the next game that's going to rival The Sims because there are no life simulation games like
I know.
The Sims. But
Oh, I'm very interested in this.
so you build. The building looks spot on. We haven't seen anything for characters yet. He's going to release a reveal trailer for that soon, but the houses just look awesome, and you can live on the ocean in your own cruise ship.
Is it like a
Like-
more realistic take on The Sims, or like what's the separation here?
Graphics wise, it doesn't look like it. It looks a bit more cartoony, but it seems like it's trying to be more immersive than The Sims rather than having those chance cards you usually see where it says, your kid went to school and needs to cheat on a math test. What should they do?
Yeah.
And you don't see anything. You just choose it, and that's that. Whereas Paralyzed is going to try and get you to actually be there, present, and make the choice.
Huh. It's a weird name for a game that's like a life sim. What is Paralyzed? What?
Paralyzed?
Paralives.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. All right.
Paralives.
So there's an interview on the site about Paralives.
Yeah, it's going to be published soon, but everybody's busy with, like, publishing just went out for the magazine, so...
Yeah, I guess.
But it should be out by the time people are listening.
Yeah, I would think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Awesome. Joseph, what about you, man?
Well, I really enjoyed like it in terms of like the feature that I wrote that like I'd want to read the most if I hadn't written it. Probably the one about like 10 Pokemon that don't exist but should. I believe that's the title.
Interesting.
And yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. I think I put like most of like my best jokes in there, which are mostly just a bunch of awful puns that Blake and Emma have been subjected to for the past 3 months, and I apologize to them.
In full support.
And like Jeff Cork, he's really suffered through them.
Boy.
But yeah, I had fun with that. I also really like doing the analysis on Breath of the Wild 2.
Oh yeah, that was a video, right?
There was a video.
Okay.
But I also wrote like a detailed like going through every frame and trying to find everything out about it that I could.
What's the juiciest tidbit from that you think people might not know?
It's Ganon. The guy there. It's Ganondorf.
Okay.
Like.
No more mystery. It's just
No,
it's Ganondorf, you
like
idiots.
the real like nail in the coffin for that was that when it starts like zooming in on him, like it's very quiet and subtle, but you can hear the bum, ba-dum, 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 and which is Ganondorf's theme, and that
Right.
combined with like the Gerudo like markings and everything.
The weird jewelry and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
It's him.
Okay, awesome. Blake?
I think my favorite thing, or one of the things that I'm most proud of, is the preview I did for Remnant from
cool.
the Ashes. That was a lot of fun. I've never done anything like that before, and so it was a really fun experience to learn how to talk about a game that isn't out yet.
and the developer was in the office,
yeah,
right?
we got
So you
to play the game alongside them. It was a really crazy experience, and it was a fun game, and so that helped
yeah.
as well.
Oh, cool. What was that preview called if people wanted to find it?
4 things to keep an eye on in Remnant from the Ashes.
There we go. Sweet. Hang on. Did you work on Kyle with that feature?
Yeah.
The 4 Things was an old video series that Kyle used to host. It's very funny that he went.
It was his idea.
Of course, he's trying to squeeze 4 things back in. Mike Makasiachak says, "Do you intend to continue working in the games industry? What are your plans in the future? Did this turn you off from the whole thing, or are you
Yes.
red hot on the whole
Specifically,
thing?"
you
Yes.
have turned me off.
Oh,
from this
I
whole
understand.
thing.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
I wouldn't say it turned me off, but it woke in me to everything I need to do if I wanted to be successful.
Which
in it.
is
You got to stay relevant even if you could care less about what's relevant right now. You got to play some games you do not want to play just because people want to hear about it and talk about things that people want to hear about it.
sure.
So, like,
Is that a struggle where it's like, new games are out, but I'm not into Wolfenstein. What am I going to do? Force myself to
Exactly,
play
yeah.
this? Like that type of thing?
and you won't always have JV around to write it for you.
Yes,
so
that's exactly true.
you got to hop, especially when it's tough getting into this business and getting paid for it. So a lot of people just do it on their own time, make their own YouTube videos and websites.
Yeah.
So I just think learning about what makes Game Informer successful and relevant, you could easily translate if I'm allowed to take some of those tips from you guys and do it
Yeah, that's the
myself.
point. Is to take the tips. Yeah. So you stream on your own?
Yeah.
You want to give out a cool handle?
Heck yeah. It's a weird name, but it's M plus Noir. Should I spell it out?
Sure.
Okay, EMPLUSNOIRE.
Okay.
Find me on Twitch. I'm not on Mixer like Ninja, but
Soon the deal's coming through.
yes.
So that's interesting. So trying to incorporate, that's your plan for the future, is trying to incorporate some Game Informer
Yeah.
lessons into the streaming, but maybe not necessarily going for a career in games journalism?
I'd like to mix it up a bit, like obviously stream, but also I really want to get game reviews out there. That would be fun.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, for sure. What do you guys think?
I've wanted to be a games journalist since I was 15. I still want to be one.
Let the record show that was in the year 2015. But yes.
It was, yeah. So yeah, it hasn't been forever. My life has just begun, and it's
That's right.
Oh man, it's very possible that somewhere along the line, I'm like, you know what? I gave it a good go, the old college try, but it's just not working out. But
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, and until then, I'm gonna try and like fire from all cylinders. I'm gonna keep writing about video games and entertainment and stuff like that. And because like it's hard, and as you said, there are definitely like it definitely recontextualizes like video games in your life because you have to play stuff you might not want to, or like in a time frame that you might not want to.
Or take notes on games. What? Oh, yuck. Yeah. Horrifying.
But
that's nice. Well, it's nice you get to give this whole thing your college try while you're in college. Few people get that synced up in that way, so that's a real benefit.
True.
That's cool. You sticking with it, Blake?
Yeah, I think I'd like to. I mean, I have a lot of ideas about games, and if they're not just gonna stay in my head, you know, I gotta put them somewhere. Even if people don't read it, I gotta put them somewhere. And so hopefully, I'd continue. The end goal is to end up in the industry. I'd like to actually work on the writing aspect of producing games.
Yeah.
But this is just as good. I really don't have a problem doing this either. I
cool.
really enjoy it. I have a lot of fun doing this kind of thing. I like writing. So
Nice. Steve Luther wants to know which editor would you want to replace?
You.
Ouch.
Is that true?
No.
Oh. That's fine.
I
You're
just
welcome
want to start some drama.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's a different thing. I don't have to write as much. I have to write, hey, in the video above, this Call of Duty producer talks about these things. Enjoy the video, everybody. That's basically those stories again and again and again.
Yeah, I don't. So I guess it's like which like job position would I want, right?
That's right.
I would not want to be the editor-in-chief.
Okay. Would you go with Kathy, the mysterious publisher?
Not for me.
Maybe not.
Maybe Joe Juba, because he's like reviews editor, and reviews that they're definitely tough because it's a real big time commitment. But I do like doing reviews. So
yeah.
Why not?
You already laid claim on his desk. Just keep it rolling.
I already
man.
have his first name, so it would just be a change of last name. And
That's a very smart point.
I'm balding very rapidly.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Let's see. Kevin Slacky, former Game Informer intern.
Hey.
Killer question here. What's the one piece of advice you'd give to the next batch of interns?
Pitch like your life depends on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
Just never stop pitching.
Never.
Always have notes.
Bombard.
Okay. Maybe this, because it's just only a few are actually going to get up the stream. Is that the idea here?
yeah, I'd also say like don't be too hard on yourself. You know, like the people working here have been doing this for a long time, and I think definitely like at the beginning and even like halfway through, I was like, man, I'm just like nowhere like near that level, and I think that's okay. We're here to learn. We're here to get better, and I believe you'll get there, interns.
That's very sweet.
I'll say this too, and I think that this was driven home very, very early on to us when we got here, but like, it is kind of scary. Talk to the editors, like actually go upstairs and like say words to them. It's very scary to like go to the people who, they're going to be reading your work and you're going to have to keep pitching to them. And they're always busy doing something and you don't want to go bother them.
But it's every term. It's like, I sit close to the stairs. And so every term you see the interns walking upstairs and it's just like terror of like, everyone looks busy. Where do I go? Yeah. Most of them make the mistake of coming up to Leo or I and be like, can you prove this? Like, I don't think we can. I can't help you, man.
Yeah, I encourage communication.
Right. So get in there and shake up the editors.
Yeah, if they're busy, they'll tell you they're busy.
Yes.
If they're not going to be mean about it or anything.
You can cry about it on your way
down the stairs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There we go. That works out.
Come back up later.
Eric writes in and says, hey, how do I become an intern?
Apply.
Years of practice.
That's right. So it goes
training on the mountains.
Jeff Cork and Ben Reeves handle the internship, and so we have a post on the website for every term. Leo, how many do we do? 3 a year?
Sure.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, I think we have the next batch already lined up, but definitely for the batch after that, just keep your eye on Game Informer's website, follow us on Twitter, and we'll tweet out saying, hey, we're looking for interns right now.
Yeah.
Anything like that. Anything else you guys want to impart? Any other wisdom that you've learned along the way?
I just say for like becoming an intern, just write a lot. Don't like try and I've even made this mistake where like you work for like a month on like making something perfect and like super like lengthy. No, just like write whatever. It can have errors. That's great. Just keep on doing it. I organized this summer event. I don't know if I can plug that.
Please.
It's called. I'm sorry. I know I keep on butting it.
No,
But it's called 6 Days of Writing. It's on this like reader-run blog. Anyone can write for it. Called Tay, Tay.
6 Tay.
6 Days of Writing. Yeah, and it's just it just finished up. But it's during the summer. It's just a challenge to write 60 articles in 60 days. About video games if you want, but if you want to write about whatever or work on like somebody just had like a developer diary of making like their own kind of like homebrew game. That's a super like good way to get started. Just and you'll just naturally get better.
There we go. Does anybody else have any wisdom to impart?
Be excellent to one another.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I have seen that movie.
Hey, there you go.
Okay.
Do you guys have Twitter handles you want to share with the world if you're into that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Take it
We're
away.
Down the line. All right. Emma McMurphy, EMMAMC, MURPHY. I hope I did not mess that
I
up.
think you got it.
At Joseph Stanichar, JOSEPH STANICHAR.
Listen, there's an underscore in mine, and I'm sorry about it. It's Woog _ Blake, WOOG _ Blake.
Beautiful.
Yep.
You got it. Hey, Lou in the booth, help me. Give him a big round. Give yourselves a round of applause,
shucks,
too.
thanks.
Thank you so much for your service to the magazine,
Thank you for
the
having us.
website. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And now we do the typical sign-off where, Joseph, you read the classic Game Informer Show sign-off as your favorite Harry Potter character, if you'd be so inclined.
Should I do like a
Drag it on for 5
different
minutes.
Yeah, whatever you want, man.
Wait, which character do you want?
The funkiest one, the weirdest one, the scariest one.
Okay, I'll go with Dobby.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Game Informer show. Tune in next Thursday for a new episode. Bye, everybody!
Do you want to hunt out Miller? Don't let him escape.
Matt Miller.
No matter
What's
what.
he talking about?
Miller,
Ancestors.
Oh, God.
His own, though.
Miller Night.
We've got that Miller Night. And you know he's gonna bore you when he talks about the monkeys.
Ooh. Have you guys seen my Destiny fan fiction?